Is it finally coming? Looking at Sithorn, who was already on the same camp as Chu Shu. The King of Chaos, Wanda herself felt a sense of sadness. It seems you finally found help, after these few involuntary journeys. Both Wandas, who are twins, have complex emotions towards Chu Shu. After all, there were no irreconcilable conflicts between the two parties. The reason why they are hostile to each other. It's just that their goals conflict with each other. One side wants to massacre all of its own selves in the parallel universe, the other side doesn't want the other side to massacre them, that's all. If Wanda is willing to give up the massacre plan, the conflict will naturally be resolved. Only. Come on, just die. Clearly Wanda isn't about to give up. To be precise, from the moment she set foot on this road, she was not ready to look back. What I have chosen is a difficult but right path. Even if I die here today, there will be Wangda from other worlds who will continue on this path. Until is reactivated in multiple ways. The King of Chaos once again elaborated on her plan. Although the reason was not stated, but the ultimate goal is always one sentence: restart, or reshape multi-universe. Anyway, in the end, diversity is recreated according to her wishes. The plan is bold. But now it was Sithorn who stood in front of her. Wanda Maximoff, surrender before your creator. Sithorn's attitude towards Wanda is in stark contrast to his attitude towards Chu Shu. When facing the twin Wanda, Sithorn showed the momentum that a multidimensional old god should have. Its true form is an elemental energy that cannot be physically described. Invisible. But the human brain cannot understand invisible and is afraid of being nameless. So Sithorn projected the form of the Great Shadow and gave himself a name, Sithorn. In short, it was the moment when Sithorn truly showed his strength. Everything around him was on the verge of collapse. The end of all things is near. Even Chu Shu on the other side felt the power of Sithorn. Something's wrong. Is this bitch trying to test himself under the pretext of dealing with Wanda? Chu Shu took out the ball of light given by OHIT and resisted the aftermath of Sithorn's accidental release. Then he said decisively, "Just give me your power, Wanda doesn't need you to solve it." Chu Shu interrupted Sithorn's attack on Wanda. "Are you sure?" Sithorn's transformed entity licked his lips. According to the comics setting 21 years ago, the comic version of Wanda in the King of Chaos's body had the source of her origin magic power from Sithorn. When Wanda was born, Sithorn implanted the seeds of origin magic power into Wanda's body as a baby. Its purpose is to break the blockade between Emperor Weixin and Gia on him through Wanda, so as to go to the Earth. It's like using Wanda as a springboard. A bridge between the main dimension and the flickering dimension. So Sithorn's so-called helping Chu Shu deal with Wanda is actually a little selfish. This is why he reacted so violently when Chu Shu asked him to stop. Don't think I don't know your little thoughts. Hand over your power honestly, and you don't have to worry about other things. See Chu Shu speak again. Sithorn had no choice but to give up his inner thoughts and obediently handed over his power. Anyway, in the infinite multi-universe, there is more than one comic version of Wanda. This won't work, because we can't find other prosperous items. Brother Chu, this ring is a symbol of my strength. Take it with you, and you can use my power as you wish, no matter where you are, without any restrictions. Sithorn handed over a ring. At this point, the god of black magic and his nemesis, the god of white magic, Emperor Weixin, often reached a tacit agreement. That is, they did not directly give their power to Chu Shu. Instead, it only gives the right to use the power. If you want to give an example, it can be understood that Musk and Bill Gates gave you a credit card at the same time. You can swipe the card at will and buy anything with their money. Use it if you want. No limits, it's just that they are still the actual owners of the money in name. TMD, I won't lie to others now, but you are still so defensive about me? Chu Shu was a little unhappy, but he did not continue to embarrass Sithorn at this point. After all, rabbits bite when they are anxious. Moreover, Chu Shu also understood why Weixin Emperor and Sithorn did what they did. To put it bluntly, it's just one sentence. Don't worry about yourself. The two of them were afraid that as soon as they sent out their power with their front legs, they would not acknowledge it if their back legs were used, and would eat them up and drive them away to some prehistoric world, such as Cthulhu. Am I the person who can do that kind of thing? Chu Shu looked confused. Weixin, you are. Sithorn. I'm not sure if you are, but I believe in Emperor Weixin's vision of people. Brother Chu, walk slowly and be careful. Come and play again when you have time. Sithorn was eager to send Chu Shu away quickly. After saying that, it even opened a cross-universe passage in person. Put on a flattering attitude to see off guests. Wanda, the King of Chaos, who was ready to fight for her life both times, fell silent both times. No matter how stupid she is now, she understands that Chu Shu doesn't want to kill her at all. Otherwise, it doesn't matter whether it's Sithorn, Emperor Wyshan, or the man who calls himself Lucifer. Anyone can easily defeat her. The kind of pure crushing. Let's go. Just as it came, Chu Shu patted the King of Chaos on the shoulder and walked into the passage first. The twin King of Chaos Wanda was silent for a moment and then followed her. Go through the passage. The two of them came to the familiar universe where the solar system was destroyed. The experience just now seemed to come full circle. Eventually it's back to square one, outside the barrier of their small universe. Looking around, there are parallel universes one after another, far or near, floating like bubbles in every direction they can see. Each bubble is a single universe. Tell me about it. I think there is no need to fight and kill things that can be solved with words, right? Chu Shu turned around and said. The two people's spatial coordinates have returned to the origin, but their situations are completely different. The power of Emperor Wyshan, the power of Sithorn. Set Serpent Crown. Chu Shu, who can use these three powers at will, has already surpassed the King of Chaos in terms of statistics. Origin magic power can reshape reality. The mistakes you make and the people you kill can theoretically be reversed. As long as you act now and give up that outrageous plan. Everyone can actually pretend that nothing happened. Chu Shu persuaded for the last time. And Wanda, the twin King of Chaos, obviously also knows that this is the last chance Chu Shu gives herself. But she still sticks to her original idea. Chu Shu, our destiny is written on paper. Our joys and sorrows, separation and separation, all just develop according to a predetermined trajectory. They, the people who manipulate us, call themselves painters, screenwriters, directors, authors. Every parallel universe develops under their orchestration. The so-called infinite multi-universe. Everything is possible, as just a joke. Both you and I are in it. The only way to break the situation is to break and then stand. And I will never give up this plan. Never. King of Chaos, Wanda finally reveals her motives. But Chu Shu frowned after hearing this. No. How about you explain it differently? I really can't take this topic of yours. If you break and then establish, that's a new book. You will be scolded. How about you change your motive, such as looking for your son? Even if you look for your son, he is more reliable than this one. The meaning of Chu Shu can be summed up in one sentence. Let it go. A Zen, you are just a casual worker, you can't stand it. Wanda's goals are too ambitious. It's so grand that it's almost impossible to achieve it. To put it simply, she is just like Deadpool. For some reason, she learned about the existence of the fourth wall and learned that she was just a character in comics or movies. But Wanda doesn't have Deadpool's big heart. The latter can use the fourth wall as a platform to vent and interact with the audience from time to time. But Wanda can't do this. After learning that the suffering he experienced was probably arranged by others, Wanda chose another path. I want to change everything. Not just for me, but for everyone, every Wanda. King of Chaos. Wanda has made up her mind. In order to achieve this goal, she is willing to sacrifice everything. Even if you kill yourself in the parallel universe, you will no longer feel any guilt, because they, the Wandas of those parallel universes, are just puppets in a comic or a movie. If we can't change, how can we be considered living people? Wanda spoke excitedly. Chu Shu wanted to tell her a fable about the brain in a vat. But in the end, I swallowed my words after thinking about it. Maybe in your opinion, your starting point is good. But in fact, even if you reshape the multi-universe, the world you expect will still not come. Like her, she should be a cartoon or a cartoon. Like you, it should be a movie or a movie. Chu Shu pointed at the two faces on the King of Chaos face and said. Multi-universe restarts. This operation is almost routine in the American comic circle. Both Marvel and DC have rebooted it countless times. Has anything changed in the end? No, it's better to change the soup rather than the medicine. It can't be changed in one session. That. The King of Chaos was speechless for a moment. The two overlapping faces showed confusion. But in just a moment, confusion turned into determination. Chu Shu, please forgive me for my misunderstanding of you at the beginning. You are indeed a very good man. Chu Shu was a little confused. Have you been given a good guy card? Maybe you do deserve to be loved by more Wanda. King of Chaos. Wanda said with a decisive smile on her face. Chu Shu knew the final decision was coming. Let's have a bet. If you win, I will give up everything and give all my origin magic power to your little Wanda. If I win, I hope you will stop blocking me and let me try, no matter how slim the chance is. So what do you want to bet on? It's not okay to gamble with money, it's easy to get banned. Chu Shu said half-jokingly. I bet on whether you can defeat me again. After the King of Chaos finished speaking, he pointed at the universe closest to them. That is the world where the solar system was destroyed. I suppress my strength within the carrying range of this universe. Then we fight again. On the premise that each other does not destroy this universe. Victory determines victory or defeat. The universe must not be destroyed. This agreement means that Wanda must lower herself. Project a part of yourself into this single universe in the form of a reflection. Just like Wanda before her. And Chu Shu cannot use the power of Waishan Emperor and Sithorn unscrupulously. The two sides have entered into a fair dual state. Okay. But you don't mind if I challenge more people, right? Despite some restrictions, Chu Shu simply agreed. Can. But I want to take back what I said before, you are a good man. Accompanied by two tongue-in-cheek remarks. Chu Shu and King of Chaos Wanda once again returned to the universe where the solar system was destroyed. Planet debris is still scattered around. The only difference is that there are a lot more people here than before. Mr. Chu Shu, are you okay? We have been waiting for you in Universe 838 for a long time. Seeing Chu Shu, Wanda, Diana, and America from the main universe immediately gathered around. And they weren't the only ones who came over. The Avengers from the 838 universe, under the leadership of Tom Cruise's version of Iron Man, successfully opened a cross-universe passage and followed them. Meet the King of Chaos, Wanda. This group of people who came for revenge immediately launched an attack on him. Which? Pay for the sins you have committed with your life. Dr. Doom, who is known as a master of both magic and technology, fired a dazzling beam of light. His armor is similar to Iron Man's, they are all high-tech products. The only difference is that Dr. Doom's armor has a large number of magic circles built into it, which can cast magic instantly. Integrate the power of technology and magic together to attack. And it's not just Dr. Doom who's attacking. Old Magneto, Wolverine, Invisible Susan, Tom Cruise Iron Man. Every Avengers from the 838 universe decisively attacked the King of Chaos the moment they saw him. Invisible Susan, wearing a spacesuit designed by her husband, performs psychokinesis on Wanda. Without saying a word, old Magneto controlled two huge amounts of planet debris from the air and smashed it towards Wanda. Wolverine wears jet propellers on his legs and flies towards Wanda, showing off his steel claws. But the King of Chaos turned a blind eye to these people. It's like not seeing it. Sorry, I shouldn't have lied. But it's something I have to do. King of Chaos, Wanda's eyes always fall on Chu Shu. Two overlapping faces left a line of tears at the same time. Her lips moved slightly and she said, no_more_power. He said this in a calm tone, no more power. Just like the sentence, no more mutants, in the comic, Royal Family. A dazzling white light burst out from where Wanda, the King of Chaos, was. Dr. Doom's magic ray ceased abruptly, it's like it never happened. Magneto suddenly lost the ability to control magnetism, and the two planet debris also escaped his control. Wolverine loses self-healing and ages rapidly. Invisible Woman Susan has also lost psychokinesis and is no longer invisible. No. America next to Chu Shu exclaimed. She also lost her powers, and the influence of the King of Chaos's words, no_more_power, is still spreading. Not only did it sweep across the entire single universe in an instant, it also continued to spread outward, towards the parallel universe. Just like she said she lied. Because her body outside the universe also shouted the words, no_more_power. This was unfair from the beginning. I'm sorry, this is what I really want to do. Without these surprising and mysterious powers, our world would no longer be special. Without the audience, the forces that bind us disappear. The King of Chaos turned around and looked at Chu Shu apologetically. All mysterious powers are disappearing. Every universe that is implicated is gradually becoming mundane. Chu Shu was not affected by origin magic power, but things went beyond his expectation. I just decided not to lie to others anymore. As a result, I was deceived now. Sure enough, cheating and being cheated are fixed. If you don't cheat, you will be cheated. Then I will continue to lie to people in the future. After Chu Shu finished speaking, he looked up in the direction of the King of Chaos. Although there was a ball of incandescence, Chu Shu knew that the King of Chaos was still inside. Hey, does that bet you made before still count? Chu Shu took out an almost new Glock G17 pistol with 9mm ammunition from his space belt. This is the pistol Modu used when he first crossed over and tricked him. That was the first time Chu Shu was tricked by someone, and it wasn't too much of a trick. Jian Yuan and Chu Shu had many tricks to trick Yuandu. But it's still a souvenir. Since it counts, I'm afraid you are going to lose. After Chu Shu said this, he disappeared from the spot. The King of Chaos's no_more_ power cannot affect him, nor can it affect this pistol. Because this is not some mysterious power, it's just science. Chu Shu appears again. The person has arrived in front of the King of Chaos, and the Glock pistol is pointed at the opponent's forehead. With this shot, the witch deserves to die. Chu Shu said the truth. Boom. Gunfire rang out. An orange bullet passed through the Scarlet Origin magic power, splashing a coquettish red. You win. The voice of the King of Chaos came from outside the universe. Then, the Origin magic power that once belonged to her began to flow towards Wanda in the main universe. I fulfill my bet and give all my Origin magic power. But what I'm saying is, you win. I didn't lose either. Outside the universe. The King of Chaos, who exceeded the upper limit of the capacity of a single universe, gradually collapsed as his own power was withdrawn. But her eyes were looking at the red impact called no_more_ power. There was a hint of relief in his eyes. There should be many universes that will return to peace, probably. Universe number 19999. Wakanda Battlefield. Captain America, Black Panther, Falcon, Black Widow, and many other Avengers Alliance heroes. Thor, Groot, and Rocket came later and were fighting Thanos' Vanguard army. The battlefield was in chaos. Energy beams of various colors flood the plains of Wakanda. Thor, who had just cast Stormbreaker in the Dwarf Kingdom, took the lead and cleared out the Vanguard hounds in one direction with unparalleled courage. Thanos, come out and die. Thor jumped up with Stormbreaker in hand. Lightning exploded all around. But at this moment, a cold voice suddenly reached everyone's ears. No_more_ power. Everyone on the scene who heard this sentence, no matter heroes or villains, no matter humans or aliens. All have lost their super ability. Oh no. Thor fell from the sky. Stormbreaker's surface lost its thunderous light. Even Captain America, the product of the super soldier serum, is aging rapidly. The villain's Black Dwarf lost its super strength, and Proxima Midnight also lost its super strength. Black Panther loses the heart-shaped grass. Vision lost his life directly because the mind gem dimmed its light. Also in this universe, countless super ability owners have lost their ability in an instant. Including on Titan. Spider-Man, Mantis, Drax, Strange, etc. are fighting Thanos. Even the 4 gems in Thanos' hand, strength, reality, space, soul. The 4 gems dimmed their light in turn and turned into ordinary stones. This is impossible. Thanos raised his head, his eyes seeming to see through the barrier of the universe. And in the infinite multi-universe, there are countless people who have the same experience as him. 1325 Universe. Spider-Man Peter Parker is using cobweb to float between high-rise buildings. His opponent, Dr. Lizard, was clinging to the wall like a gecko, chasing after him. After spotting an opportunity, Dr. Lizard aimed at Peter, jumped up, and flew towards him. Along with the ultra-high-speed movement, Spider telepathy was knocked to the ground without even reacting. The two rolled to the top of a building. Poor Peter. No father, no mother, no Uncle Ben. Now even your own life is at risk. Dr. Lizard pinned Peter Parker to the ground with his sharp claws and shouted the classic, broken, Parker. Oh, man, at least let me breathe. Take advantage of Dr. Lizard's verbal attacks. Peter Parker saw the opportunity and shot the cobweb, grabbed the beam of the building in front, and quickly escaped. You can't escape this, Parker. Dr. Lizard saw his prey and escaped. He immediately swooped after him. At this moment, both of them were in the air, dozens of meters above the ground. And then at this unfortunate time, Chaos Wave is coming. Peter Paw and Dr. Lizard lost their abilities at the same time. One turned back into a 17-year-old boy from Queens, and the other turned back into a one-armed middle-aged researcher. The only thing they have in common is that they are all thin and weak. No. The sudden loss of power makes Peter Parker no longer able to grasp Cobweb. The whole person plummeted from a high altitude. Peter. Dr. Lizard is also in free fall. But when he turned back to a human, his kind side also reappeared. Sorry. Dr. Lizard apologized to Peter. Then, accompanied by two muffled sounds, Spider-Man and Dr. Lizard fell heavily to the ground. Ah! People passing by on the street screamed, and then people discovered the identity of the person who fell. That day, the newspaper owner who hated Spider-Man the most was reporting on the news. Friendly neighbor Spider-Man unfortunately fell to his death today. The same thing happens in many worlds. It was as if everyone's super abilities suddenly disappeared in an instant. That cold, no_more_ power has become every super ability person's nightmare. Everyone who heard it lost their ability in an instant. No matter who they are. No matter where they come from. Countless universes have become ordinary, just like the real world, boring and ingenious. These affected universes no longer attract audiences. Because they have no drama. No more special. Nothing to watch. In a way, she did succeed. Feeling the influence of chaos waves, Chu Shu was silent for a moment and finally said. If these affected universes are really a movie, a comic, or a novel. The box office and sales of these movies, comics, and novels must be terrible. Because the audience was watching, suddenly everyone lost their ability. The superhero movie suddenly became a reality-based movie. It's not surprising that Thanos would be arrested by the police now. Chu Shu shook his head slightly. Then he set his sights beyond the universe. But Wanda, the King of Chaos, is nowhere to be found. She is dead. Both of them are dead. Chu Shu knew clearly that her shot could not take her life. The one who killed her was herself. Chu Shu realized this. Mr. Chu Shu. Sudden. Wanda from the main universe on the side let out an exclamation. Chu Shu turned around and looked over, and saw endless origin magic power pouring in from outside the universe. Then it flowed into the body of Wanda, who looked frightened. Wanda has seen power of this magnitude. He was too scared to move. He could only look at Chu Shu for help. Mr. Chu Shu, what should I do? I'm afraid. Wanda said at a loss. Don't be afraid, this is a bet between her and me. Chu Shu reassured. Before his death, the King of Chaos transferred all his power to Wanda in the main universe. Just like when I promised myself. It's okay. People from the universe don't lie to people from the universe. If I could, I really wish I could hear the King of Chaos say these words. Chu Shu smiled helplessly. Although I was deceived just now, I can make amends now. Come and go, it's even. What happened? My magnetic field is gone. My magic. Not far away, Magneto from Universe 838 opened his arms, but found that he had no power. Dr. Doom also lost his magical side of power. My ability. America looked down at her hands. Her ability to open a cross-universe passage was also erased by the sentence, no_more_ power. Everyone suddenly became ordinary people. The only people who didn't have super abilities from the beginning were Nick Fury and Tom Cruise's version of Iron Man. Or people with the ability to offset the origin magic power, such as Chu Shu and Wanda. The only exception to the above criteria, it's Diana. Why am I okay? Diana did feel strong fluctuations. But his strength has no effect at all. Is it because I'm from the DC universe? Diana muttered. Don't even think about it. Let's go back first. After Chu Shu finished speaking, he opened a passage to the 838 universe. Send everyone in. Only Wanda remains, because of her. From now on, there is no way to return to any universe. How do you feel? Chu Shu looked at Wanda, who was still absorbing the power of the King of Chaos, and asked. It feels horrible. It seems like everything around me is becoming fragile, as if I can destroy everything at will. Wanda looked horrified. The more she absorbed this power, the more terrifying it became. This kind of power has far exceeded her imagination, as if the universe has become smaller and bigger. That means your feeling is right. Come with me. This universe can no longer accommodate you, little fat man. Chu Shu said half-jokingly. The King of Chaos didn't lie, she did give all her power to Wanda. People from the universe do not deceive people from the universe. Come outside the universe. In this place where there is no sound, no picture, and even thinking will stagnate. Chu Shu and Wanda truly saw the impact of chaos waves. Hundreds of parallel universes are affected by no_more_ power. Be ordinary. although this number is still pitiful compared to the massive number of known parallel universes. But no matter what, at least she did it. King of Chaos. Wanda has single-handedly rewritten the fate of hundreds of parallel universes. These universes will become incredibly boring in the future. But the advantage is, they will live a truly peaceful life. There are no superheroes, no supervillains, and no all kinds of devastating events. The only price is that these universes will be completely reduced to the lowest level, low-end worlds with no possibilities. Because American comics compete for popularity, when a character loses its audience, it will naturally become marginalized. The same is true for the universe. I wonder if the physical incarnations of these universes will cry to death? While Chu Shu was making fun of the physical incarnations of these unlucky universes, Wanda, who came outside the universe for the first time, only then adapted and regained control of her thinking. And this is thanks to the origin magic power left to her by the King of Chaos. Otherwise, the adaptation time will be extended. Ah. Mr. Chu Shu, what happened to me just now? After regaining her mind, Wanda looked around in shock. The universe outside is completely white, like a blank piece of paper or a blank document. The only thing that can be seen, perception, is the cosmic bubbles distributed in all directions. Anchor of the universe, Atreus said that the universe looks like a bubble, which is actually true. But that's the image seen from a distance, if you stare carefully at a certain universe. Then its image will become concrete and eventually become the image of its physical incarnation. That is eternity. Okay, let's take a breath, although there is no air here. Chu Shu rubbed Wanda's head. How do you feel now? I feel. Wanda looked down at her hands, her whole body in shock. I feel like I can do anything, as the power of the King of Chaos is absorbed. Wanda's strength has far exceeded the upper limit of the single universe and has entered diversity. That is to say, on the premise that Chu Shu does not borrow the power of Waishan Emperor and Sithorn. Wanda's normal strength has steadily surpassed Chu Shu. After all, Chu Shu's normal strength is only as a single player. What the hell is this thing called? Chu Shu shook his head slightly. He tried his best to deceive and rob, but in the end it was still not as good as reincarnation. Wanda directly inherited her own power from the parallel universe and reached the sky in one step. Why don't I have a good parallel universe duplication? Wanda groaned after hearing Chu Shu's complaints. Mr. Chu Shu, based on my understanding of you, if you find that there are other versions of yourself in parallel universes, I guess it's impossible to help each other. There is a high probability that you will do more than Wanda. Wanda. That is, the King of Chaos. In order to achieve her goal, she did not hesitate to hunt herself in the parallel universe, but it was still a reason. It can be regarded as a motivated and premeditated hunting. But if there is more than one Chu Shu in the parallel universe, and their personalities are so kind. The final scene. Wanda couldn't even imagine it. Even Chu Shu is like this. If there was a group of Chu Shu, what would happen? Hey, now that I've become more capable and my wings have become stronger, I'm kidding, right? If I have a bunch of duplication, you little Wandas will be the first to suffer. After Chu Shu finished speaking, he picked up the multi-level Wanda. Then just outside this white universe, little traces were left. The taste outside the universe is indeed different. After a long time, Chu Shu separated from Wanda seriously, with a righteous look on his face. Mr. Chu Shu, these universes, should we find a way to restore them? Wanda blushed. The recovery she refers to is naturally the effect the King of Chaos has had on other universes. That is no_more_ power. I feel that with my current ability, I should be able to restore these universes, right? Wanda herself said a little unsure. Try it, but I don't think you can do it. Chu Shu said simply and directly. The next scene also verified Chu Shu's conjecture. Wanda calmed down and used the same origin magic power to say, restore everything. But in the end nothing happened. Those universes are still devoid of supernatural forces. Wanda was silent. Chu Shu had expected all this. If only no_more_ power could be reversed so easily. Chu Shu estimates that the King of Chaos will not honor the bet before his death and give Wanda Wanbi. Because this is equivalent to letting your efforts go to waste. It's okay, it's not a bad thing anyway, that's all. At least our hometown is fine. Chu Shu comforted him. How many parallel universes are there in Marvel? Even if there are hundreds of them missing at once, there are still countless of them. What's more, for Chu Shu, There is only one truly important universe, and that is number 19999 FL. As long as the base camp is fine, it doesn't matter if the flood outside is raging. Well, I understand, Mr. Chushu, should we go back? Wanda nodded. He casually opened a door to the 838 universe, and then prepared to go inside. Opening a cross-universe passage is easy for her who has reached the multidimensional level. Slow. Before Wanda could step into the passage, Chushu stretched out his hand and pulled her back. Da Shachin. What do you want to do? Wanda looked confused. Her thinking was still stuck in the past, unable to keep up with the surge in strength. After Chushu explained, Wanda realized how exaggerated her current strength was. So now, I can't go home. Wanda looked at the cosmic bubbles so close to each other and wanted to reach out, but she didn't dare. I'm afraid that one touch will explode the universe. Don't worry, this is only temporary. Our universe will be upgraded soon, and it will definitely be able to accommodate a little fat pig like you. I said this, Chushu promised, patting her chest. Wanda was obviously moved by Chushu's promise. He nodded seriously. Then he said, you are the little fat pig. Look how smart I am, but I'm stuck at the single unit level. You are free to come and go, and you can go wherever you want. I don't care about diversity at all. I can't even go back home. What's the use of being so strong? You have to be cautious wherever you go and be cautious about your hands and feet. It's boring, you know. On the Earth in the 838 universe. Chushu and Wanda, who came by the way of energy projection, kept talking. It's like I've never touched money. No, I've never touched power. It looks like I'm not interested in power. It made Wanda cover her mouth and snicker. Mr. Chushu, please wipe the envious drool from the corner of your mouth before you speak. Is there any? Chushu touched his mouth and realized that the diary was broken. Little Wanda, you are getting more and more cunning now. Why, the lesson I just gave you was not enough. Enough is enough. Just listen to the word lesson. Wanda immediately changed the topic with a red face. This universe has also been affected by no_more_power. That's right. It's not just the Avengers Alliance members in the 838 universe that are affected. Even their universe, originally, is within the influence of chaos waves. And unfortunately, the 838 universe contains two super ability races, mutant and inhumans. And after the King of Chaos said, no_more_power. All super abilities in this universe have lost their ability. The only person in the world with supernatural powers are Diana from the DC universe. Chushu, Wanda, you are finally back. I saw Chushu and Wanda returning to the 838 universe from outside the universe. Diana immediately ran over excitedly. America followed behind. The pace is slow. Clearly distracted. Oh my god, you are back. Is it over? That's right, it's all over. Very good. Soon. The Avengers from Universe 838 also rushed over. It's just that most of them have become ordinary people after losing their super ability. Especially old Magneto. He just used a cane and looked like he was going to receive a pension. The only high-spirited person on the field was Tom Cruise's version of Iron Man. If the King of Chaos shouts, no_more_power, it can make someone prosper, or even do better than before. Then this person must be Iron Man, because he is originally an ordinary person without super ability. But his steel armor was developed according to the standards of various super ability users. Now everyone, heroes and villains alike, have their supernatural powers gone. Then Iron Man becomes a well-deserved version of T-Zero. This position is almost unshakable. Tom Cruise is making a lot of money now. Chushu glanced around. This gives us a basic judgment on the current structure of the 838 universe. Although Dr. Doom claims to be a master of both magic and technology, now that there is no magic, he will definitely not be able to defeat Iron Man if he uses technology alone. And it's not just 838 universe. Those hundreds of universes that were affected. The future should be dominated by the Iron Man family. I wonder if the King of Chaos expected this scene. While Chushu was thinking, Tom Cruise came up and expressed his gratitude to Chushu and his team for solving Wanda on behalf of the 838 universe. And I hope Chushu and his party can stay in Universe 838. It's impossible to stay. It's okay to visit us if you have nothing to do. In response, Chushu directly refused, and tell the truth. If he really stayed, Unable to predict the eternity of the 19,999 FL universe, my brain twitched and I thought I was kidnapped. Directly bring the 19,999 FL universe to rush over and have a collision with the 838 universe. It is still unknown whether 838 universe can survive by then. Alright. Seeing that Chu Shu didn't want to stay, Tom didn't dare to force him. However, he still expressed euphemistically, he hoped Chu Shu could stay to attend the celebration banquet. Celebration party? Chu Shu almost lost his temper. The prerequisite for celebrating success is that you must have merit. Just you guys paddling. If you want to celebrate, you might as well take care of the security of your world. Ahem. Although Chu Shu said nothing, but Tom still understood what Chu Shu meant and coughed slightly in embarrassment. But he still insisted on inviting Chu Shu, because his so-called celebration banquet is actually a drunkard's intention and not the wine. Tom Cruise, who has seen a vast multi-universe, actually just wants to introduce someone to Chu Shu. Morgan Stark, his daughter, because the timeline of the 838 universe is further back than the normal universe. So the characters in this universe are generally older than the characters in other universes. This is why basically all members of the original Avengers Alliance have retired. Same reason. Old characters are retired. The second generation has naturally grown up. So what Tom Cruise means is pretty much, I have a daughter, named Morgan, who is 18 years old and very beautiful. Definitely. This must not be said directly in front of everyone. So a cover for a celebration party was needed. It doesn't matter, I know what you are worried about, it will be over soon. I have activated Ultron's backup program. When the new batch of Ultron robots are manufactured, it is only a matter of time before order is restored. Tom Cruise kept saying something here and there, but he just wanted to keep Chu Shu here. Translated, it's almost like, hey, you're here, let's have a meal before leaving. Seeing Tom Cruise winking while talking, Chu Shu understood instantly. Understood. There is something famous at this celebration banquet. Don't worry, Chu Shu, will never be absent from anything useful. However, before Chu Shu agreed, boom. A familiar crack suddenly appeared in front of everyone. It's a cross-universe passage, but it's not America's five-pointed star-shaped portal. It's the black magic in the Book of Darkness, dimension tearing. Everyone looked at the crack. A red figure appeared in the crack. Oh no. It's a witch, she's not dead. Everyone in 838 universe felt a chill in their hearts. Especially Magneto and others who have lost their super ability. They now have no fighting power at all. Facing the comeback of the witch, it can be said that they have no means of resistance. Tom Cruise also turned pale. Just now he was thinking about finding a strong backer for his daughter Morgan, but now he just feels his breath is stagnant. Isn't the disaster over yet? Chu Shu tilted his head and looked towards the passage. A chaos witch did come out of it, and he's the one everyone is familiar with. That's right. The person who came over was none other than our familiar sun-seeking devil. Movie main universe 19,999 Wanda. Where are my children? Where is the Wanda of your world? Why can't I use dream walking? I am forced to use the destructive magic of dimension tear. As soon as the child-seeking demon appeared, it was a classic three-question series. Where is the child? Where is your Wanda? Why can't I use dreamwalk? After asking the three questions, Wanda turned her head and discovered the restricted area standing aside. Why are you here? Movie Wanda feels that things are developing differently than she imagined. Normal script. Shouldn't it be me who possesses Wanda in this universe, and then goes to the Illuminati to kill everyone? So, what about the Illuminati? Director, where did my script go? What? The Wanda of this universe is dead. So you used astral projection to contact me before because you suspected that I was the murderer of Wanda in Universe 838? After the brief misunderstanding was resolved, the movie Wanda comes from the main universe of the 19,999 movie. I learned what happened from people's mouths when I learned that there was a self with a huge pattern. He was ready to hunt down all the selves in the parallel universe to complete the task of reshaping the multi-universe. Movie Wanda is shocked. She was still thinking about her two non-existent children. As a result, those with big plans are already thinking about reshaping the universe. So, what about the Billy and Tommy of this universe? When I think of Wanda from the 838 universe, she was unfortunately killed. In this world, Billy and Tommy tragically became children without a mother. Our sun-hunting devil is extremely sad. Okay, stop pretending. You almost couldn't hold back your laughter. Chu Shu directly pointed out the little idea behind the movie Wanda. Originally, according to the plot of the movie, Doctor Strange 2, Wanda practiced the Dark God Book and hunted down America in order to open up a cross-universe passage, go to the 838 universe, and occupy the Magpie's Nest. Because only Wanda from the 838 universe actually gets married and has children. She gave birth to 2 children, Proportion and Tommy. And the Wanda of most other parallel universes, including the Wanda of the main universe of the 19,999 movie, that is, the crazy child-seeking person in front of us, is most likely a chick. As a robot, Vision does not have the reproductive function and does not even have the tools to work. So the relationship between Wanda and Vision is more like a platonic spiritual love. The only exception is 838 universe. By the way, I want to know who Wanda in your universe is married to. Chu Shu asked without hesitation. On the side, our main universe Wanda heard this question and pinched the thin flesh of Chu Shu's waist. Chu Shu didn't think it was anything. If someone is really so serious about misophobia, include people and things in parallel universes, then there will be no good people in this world. After all, in the infinite multi-universe, even Iron Man has a gender-transformed version. Maybe Tony Stark in a certain universe is still in love with Captain America. Can you imagine such a scene? It's a white lawyer named Vision, but he died of illness a few years ago. It seemed that it was because of a tumor in his brain. 838 Iron Man answered Chu Shu's question. A tumor in your head? Let me guess, does this tumor grow between the eyebrows and is it orange? Chu Shu laughed and told a hellish joke, and this time, everyone in the 838 universe also understood the purpose of the movie Wanda. Consider that 2 children in this world have literally lost their mother. 838 Iron Man pondered for a moment, said. If those 2 kids can take it, then we won't object to you becoming their mother. But there is a premise. That means you must leave our universe with your 2 children and return to your original world. Tom Cruise said seriously. In fact, this also involves his own selfishness. After experiencing a series of previous events, he clearly realized that if these 2 children stayed in the 838 universe, they would be a real hot potato, and sooner or later they would attract more child hunting witnesses. Might as well send it out early. Okay. Hear this advice. Wanda from the main movie universe was laughing so hard that she could hardly close her mouth. The 2 smoky makeup that was originally painted to set off the dark atmosphere, actually caused by practicing the Dark God Book, are now gone, and the 2 big eyes have become piercing. If I had known it was so easy, I wouldn't have had to attack Strange. Movie Wanda muttered under her breath, but Chu Shu heard it clearly. It seems that Wanda's ability to come to the 838 universe is not just a matter of using a dimension tear. It is estimated that there is something about Strange involved. Right. After all, this movie is called Doctor Strange 2, not Wanda's Search for a Family. It would be strange if Strange didn't have a part. Chu Shu understood. This Wanda incident is basically a happy end. The person who was supposed to be looking for the child found the child. The one who deserved revenge took revenge. Those who should have prevented Wanda's massacre also succeeded in preventing it. Then Wanda's strength on Chu Shu's side increased dramatically, and she transformed into a new person, and she can eat soft rice from now on. It can be said to be a standard happy ending. Brackets. Dead people don't count. By the way, Tom Cruise, didn't you just say there was a celebration party? Let's go. I want to see what medicine you are selling in your gourd. Oh, yes, there is a celebration party. 838 Iron Man reacted after being reminded by Chu Shu. I almost forgot that I need to find a supporter for my daughter Morgan. He immediately made arrangements, but there was still a question that puzzled him. By the way, Chu Shu, why do you keep calling me Tom Cruise? There are some things I can't say more about. Everyone who understands, and I can't explain what I don't understand. The interests involved are too great. It won't do you any good, I can only say that the water is very deep. Chu Shu's confusing rhetoric directly confused Tom Cruise. Okay. I won't ask anymore. Come, meet me, this is my daughter, Morgan Stark. Ouch. At the celebration banquet prepared by Tom Cruise, Chu Shu finally understood. It turns out that this is the medicine you sell in your gourd. You told me earlier. Leave the 838 world. Chu Shu, who returned to the main universe 19,999 FL, was still in a trance. Experiences along the way. It feels like an eternity has passed. When I got home, I saw that less than a week had passed in the main universe. Brother Chu. Welcome home. The moment of returning to the main universe. The eternity of the 19,999 FL universe has already brought the planet Devours to respectfully line up to welcome him. Guinea pig. Why are you playing with him? Chu Shu looked at Planet Devourer and asked curiously. Only I and Eternity know about the universe upgrade. Galactus doesn't know the inside story, so why should he follow Eternity and call himself brother? That's right, Brother Chu, Garen is mainly. Eternity stepped forward and explained. It turns out that Planet Devourer wants to get back the ultimate eraser that was taken away by Chu Shu. Hey, tell me earlier, what do you think is going on? Chu Shu smiled slightly. Then he said decisively. No, if I don't smoke, where will the smoke come from? Faced with Galactus' request, Chu Shu simply said, I won't make it. Joke. Can I return the things I picked up to you? If this spreads out, how will the neighbors in all directions think of me, Chu Shu? Okay, guinea pig, stop thinking about your broken lighter. If it's okay, eat 2 more planets to increase your strength. I'll take you out to fight when I'm free. Chu Shu comforted Galactus, then he took everyone back to Earth. When we went there, we were in a group of 4, Shu, Wangtian, Diana, and Amica. When I come back, it should be considered 4 people, right? Chu Shu, Diana, America, and Iron Man's daughter Morgan Stark. Finally there's Wanda, who returns as an energy projection. Wanda, do you think I should count you as a person now? If you count, we have 5 people back. If you don't count, there are 4 of us, plus you. Duplication, are fragments. If you collect 99 fragments, can you redeem a complete Wanda? Chu Shu was joking. Wanda's little face was extremely dark. Mr. Chu Shu? Didn't I just stop you from going to her world with Wanda from the 19,999 universe? Why am I no longer a person? Mentioning this, several women looked at Chu Shu at the same time. Drink, bah. Scumbag. Just miss someone else's widow, invisible woman Susan. Even a divorced single mother with 2 children is worried about you. Are you still a human being? Chu Shu. Why am I not a human being? Have you ever seen a single mother with a baby? So, your trip not only brought back a new friend, but also made our Wanda unable to come back. In front of the sofa, Wanda's materialized energy form appeared. She squatted and enthusiastically hammered the Ancient One's legs. At the moment, the Ancient One patted Wanda's head gently with some dissatisfaction. His eyes were staring at Chu Shu. Chu Shu was led by the god of steamed buns and enjoyed the delicious food with her mouth full. Definitely. No need to praise me, you must know that now our Wanda cannot be underestimated. More powerful than me under normal circumstances. Chu Shu finished speaking. Wanda echoed repeatedly, obviously knowing this. Ancient One showed a surprised expression. Not only has Chu Shu surpassed himself, even after a week of business trip, Wanda's strength has surpassed that of a single entity. This made Ancient One think about whether he should go out for some experience. To gain some experience points, Morgan Stark, who came to this world for the first time, and Chu Shu said hello to the Ancient One. Led by the Black Cat, we started visiting New York's holy places. During this process, Morgan asked Black Cat one after another about the purpose of various items. Sister Black Cat, what is this? This is a magic cloak that can take you flying, but be careful, it has a bad temper. Sister, what is this? This is the call light, it flashes as a warning whenever Kamar Taj home base is attacked, and it has flashed before because of alien attacks on Earth. Sister, what is this? This is because we don't have anywhere to dry our clothes, so we can hang them here to dry. Sister, what is this? Mr. Chu Shu's King of Glory 1200 segment commemorative badge. This is very important. From now on, you have to speak louder, or quieter, when introducing yourself to others. Looking at Chu Shu with a happy face in the distance, Morgan Stark nodded in understanding. Ancient One Magician, please forgive Mr. Chu Shu. Ancient One smiled bitterly. At the moment, Wanda probably had to help Chu Shu count the money after being sold. Seeing Chu Shu constantly leading people towards home, Wanda didn't know that Ancient One was deliberately beating Chu Shu, and he couldn't see her painstaking efforts. Already full, Chu Shu waved her hand and asked the god of steamed buns to study new pastries. Here Groot came over holding his cell phone. How's your FPS shooting game practice going? Little Groot, Did you practice well while I was on a business trip? Groot patted his chest with pride, replied, I am Groot. At this time, the phone suddenly rang. Chushu glanced at it. A call from Tony Dark? He hung up the phone without a care. Nothing about him matters, because there are always people calling out of nowhere. Especially Tony Stark. Therefore, Chushu has long separated work phones and gaming phones. At the moment, Chushu and Little Groot constantly challenge high scores in the game. The so-called work phone rang every once in a while on the sofa. Morgan finished sightseeing, picking up the phone out of curiosity. Mr. Chushu, your cell phone is ringing. Take it, take it, take it quickly. Why don't you take the treatment I sent? I'm Groot. Your healing skills have been thrown to the feet of other warriors, and I can't help but pick it up. Morgan seemed to have misheard. She picked up the phone and answered it blankly. Chushu? What's going on? Why was Namor from the parallel universe kicked here? Does he still know you? Now he quarrels with our universe Namor every day. Aquaman. Morgan could probably guess who it was. Excuse me, who are you? Mr. Chushu is currently engaged in very important matters, and he may not be able to answer the call for the time being. Morgan said politely. Go up, go up. As the ADC, you have to be brave, not timid. Is this the result of your hard training? Groot. Use your skills to attack him. I'm Groot. A background voice rang on the phone, and both parties couldn't hold back. Tony on the other end of the phone was silent for a moment. Said. When Chushu finishes his work, tell him for me. This matter is very worrying. By the way, who are you? Only then did Tony think of asking who answered his call. Me? I am Iron Man's daughter, Morgan Stark. I will convey it to you. Goodbye. Wait. Who are you? Doo-doo, the phone hangs up. Morgan Stark was called away by Diana to arrange accommodation. The other side. The phone calls kept coming and no one answered. Stark was lost in thought. Who did she just say she was? The daughter of Iron Man. I obviously didn't. Then, Tony reacted and turned his head back stiffly. At the moment, two Namor were arguing with each other in the conference hall. Namor. What's wrong? What are you doing? Both Namor turned to look at Iron Man. Stark ignored Namor of the main universe, grabbed 838 Namor's shoulders, and asked. Tell me. In your universe, Stark, Iron Man, does he have a daughter? Yes. How do you know? What is her name? 838 Namor thought for a while and continued, it seems to be called Morgan. No. Like a bolt from the blue, Stark raised his hands and shouted toward the sky. Kneel down slowly on your knees. No, Chushu. If Chushu were here, he would definitely help with the music. Snowflakes, fluttering, north wind rustling. Heaven and earth, One Piece, confused. Chushu lost 3 games in a row. The game was decisively stopped. He knew he needed to adjust his mentality. Moreover, he decided to let Groot improve his self-cultivation for another week. Morgan. What did you do to me just now? Only then did Chushu remember what happened just now. Morgan came over. Mr. Chushu, I don't know who he was just now, but he talked about Mr. Namor. Chushu patted his head. Remembered. 838 Namor. You don't have to spend the night to get your own revenge. It's been a whole week since I broke my bottom line this time. At this moment, Chushu suddenly remembered. It seemed that he could vent his anger to someone after losing 3 games in a row. Your name is Namor, right? Chushu immediately opened a portal. Let's go, Morgan, I'll show you the local customs and customs. Morgan followed curiously. The two walked through the portal. The next moment, we came to an underwater realm. This is the underwater kingdom of Atlantis. Morgan's eyes sparkled with excitement when he saw the beautiful underwater scenery. The Atlanteans were not blind, they definitely had their own lighting tools. Under the illumination of various fluorescent corals, the underwater world looks more dreamy. Seeing Morgan watching all this curiously, Chushu asked, is there no such underwater world in your universe? Morgan shook his head and explained. Our side of Atlantis was attacked by Mwanda. When my father rushed to the scene, Atlantis had been destroyed. After hearing the news, Chushu understood why Namor from the 838 universe was so irritable. But does this affect my ability to beat him? Not really. Chushu came to the top of the kingdom of Atlantis. The aura of level single universe naturally spreads. This power caused panic in the people of Atlantis, and they searched for safe havens. Chu Shu glanced around. He said to Morgan calmly. Just wait, those two unlucky kids will be here soon. However, waited for a long time, but he didn't wait for Namor. Instead, it was like a power outage in Atlantis, with the lights gradually extinguishing one after another. The originally bustling underwater streets became deserted, and people floating in the water returned to their houses to take shelter. Namor didn't appear, so Chu Shu touched his chin. It shouldn't be. When did you become so relaxed? Chu Shu touched his chin, his consciousness reached out, and he scanned the entire Atlantis. Well, it turns out the person is not here. What a big mistake. The portal opened, and Chu Shu took Morgan into it. He probably knew where Namor was now, however. Chu Shu, who had already left, didn't know it because of the momentum he showed. Rumors began to spread in Atlantis that the Ocean Mephisto was about to awaken. Avengers Alliance headquarters. When Chu Shu came out of the portal, he was confused by the sight before him. I saw Namor of the main universe and Namor of the 838 universe squatting next to Tony, patting his shoulders to express comfort. On one side, many Avengers heroes were whispering and pointing in this direction. On the other hand, Tony was kneeling on the ground, despair written all over his face. A picture of people eating melons. Chu Shu pulled Captain America over in confusion and asked, "What's wrong? What happened?" "No way, that's all," after I answered the phone. After listening to the captain's words, Morgan, who was following Chu Shu, suddenly felt guilty. Telephone? Morgan inadvertently took 2 steps back. Chu Shu guessed in her mind. Did Pepper dump him? Chu Shu couldn't help but sigh. Tony, although you were unlikable, arrogant and carefree, you were almost as good as me, and you even like to study armor based on the weaknesses of your partners, but at least we are friends. Chu Shu walked to Tony. He pushed aside Namor of Universe 838 and patted Tony on the shoulder. Don't be sad. Don't you still have me? If it doesn't work, I'll take you to the parallel universe to find another one. You have to believe that your brother Chu has this ability. Sensing Chu Shu's appearance, Tony suddenly turned his hands into claws. He pinched Chu Shu's shoulders hard and shook him constantly. Where's my daughter? Where's my daughter? What's your daughter? My daughters? Chu Shu looked puzzled. Beside, 838 Universe Namor sitting on the ground whispered something. He's talking about Morgan. Only then did Chu Shu realize the cause and effect. The mouth is raised. It turns out that Tony also made the same mistake as Wanda in the movie. What about the performance of looking for a relative? Come on. You said it was your daughter, just your daughter? I also said she was my 13th aunt. Chu Shu was like a slippery loach, escaping Tony's hands. Don't say that Tony is a noob without a steel battlesuit. Even if Hulk catches Chu Shu, he also has 10,000 ways to escape. Come on, let's meet each other. This is Morgan Stark. Hi, hello everyone. Morgan Stark stood up from the side with a blushing face. Tony almost choked up. Killing someone is heartbreaking. Are you still human? Then, Tony turned his head. You are my Tony Stark's daughter. No, I am not your daughter. I am the daughter of Iron Man from the 838 universe. Morgan is sober. But I'm Iron Man. You are the Iron Man of this universe. Morgan won't do it because of the theory of parallel universes. Inexplicably, I recognized a father. But, you are Iron Man's daughter. Right. I'm Iron Man. But I am the daughter of Iron Man from the 838 universe. Leaving aside Tony, who was bewildered, and let Morgan deal with it. Here 2 Namos stood in front of Chu Shu. Here, let me kowtow to Grandpa Chu Shu. Namor of the main universe said to Namor of the 838 universe with a serious face. Chu Shu. Under Chu Shu's puzzled gaze, 838 universe Namor began to recite poetry. Ah, the great Chu Shu. You are my beacon in the darkness. You are the shore on which I sail, and you are the goal I strive for. You are the guiding light of my life. You are my reborn parents. You are my role model in growing up. You are. Stop. What the hell? Chu Shu stopped Namor from tirade. Tell me, what's going on? Is such that? Namor from Universe 838 licked his face and smiled. He, who was originally grumpy, seemed a little embarrassed at this time. I would like to ask Mr. Chu Shu to let me go. Chu Shu smiled and agreed. I've always been an adult with a lot of energy, a broad mind and a belly that can accommodate an aircraft carrier. If you don't believe me, ask them. Chu Shu pointed at the crowd eating melons. The other Avengers heroes pretended to be busy with their own affairs. The only Winter Soldier pointed out remained silent. Aside. Captain America, who was constantly flipping through books, saw this. He quickly came to his side, grabbed his head, and pressed it wolfishly to express his agreement. Namor of the main universe looked at Namor of the 838 universe with hatred. Master Chu Shu doesn't even know how to have smelly feet, so what's the use of you? Speak your mind honestly. Like me, be an upright Aquaman. Stinky feet? Chu Shu felt that this was not quite right. 838 Universe Namor said aggrievedly. The kingdom of Atlantis in my universe no longer exists, and all the people were killed by Wanda. So. I can't rebuild Atlantis. Chu Shu nodded. Currently, everyone in the 838 universe has lost their super ability. The only exception is Tom Cruise, a guy who has achieved godlike status through technology. If Namor from the 838 universe is put back into the 838 universe, we don't know what kind of trouble it will cause. Therefore, I hope you can allow me to stay in this universe and take charge of the kingdom of Atlantis again. Is this human language? Chu Shu turned to look at Namor of the main universe. Is this what you have agreed upon? Main universe Namor looked at Chu Shu solemnly. My goal is the stars and the sea. I want to be the man of the king of stars. Namor looked at Chu Shu with some anxiety, hoping that he could give a clear result. At the moment, a thought flashed through Chu Shu's mind while he was deep in thought. The man who became the Star King? Is it possible that Namor just wants to be a freeloader? How can a man eat soft rice? Wrong. Wanda's current strength is much stronger than her normal self. Then wouldn't he have become a soft food person? Chu Shu shook his head. Drive away these unrealistic thoughts. Seeing the anxious expressions of Namor of the main universe and Namor of the 838 universe. Chu Shu smiled tolerantly. Definitely, I'm not a devil, okay. But 838 Namor, you have to help me with something. You say. 838 Namor nodded repeatedly. I left something at a friend's place. Go get it for me. His name is Quagos. Don't worry, he is very kind. Eh? Wait. Who is the kind one? 838 Universe Namor hasn't finished speaking yet. A flash of light flashed, and the whole person was teleported to the tentacle dimension by Chu Shu. Main Universe Namor was stunned and swallowed. Quags. This guy whom Chu Shu calls kind. It's the dimension Mephisto that once destroyed the entire fleet of destroyers in space. That is everyone's nightmare on Earth. Namor still remembers it. When Quagos burst through the dimensional rift. The wantonly expanding tentacles are up to 10,000 meters long. Between waving. The star battleship that requires all the efforts of you and others to destroy is like a toy in its hands. Your Highness Chu Shu, will 838 Namor be fine? Namor asked. Chu Shu glanced at Lord Universe Namor. Would you like to take a look? No. I have something else to do, by the way. Modu? Didn't you say you want to moisturize your face? Quick. I've brought Atlantis' special facial mask. Namor found an excuse and ran away. Chu Shu didn't bother to talk to him. Let's go, Morgan. Chu Shu waved. The matter is solved. Go back and improve your scores. Chu Shu doesn't have time to fool around with these kids. Okay, Mr. Chu Shu. Morgan said. Behind Morgan, Tony followed aggrievedly. Seeing that Chu and Shu were leaving, Tony took 2 quick steps and patted Chu Shu on the shoulder. Chu Shu, a good son-in-law, take good care of your daughter. He looked at Tony, who looked relieved, like an old father. Chu Shu kicked him away, and then kicked him one after another. A loving father, right? Take care of it, right? A virtuous son-in-law, right? Seeing how angry Chu Shu was, Morgan unconsciously stepped forward and gave Chu Shu a sneaky kick. After getting angry, Chu Shu adjusted his collar. Don't let me see you next time. I'll beat you every time I see you. Go away, Morgan. Portals opened and closed. Seeing Chu Shu and Morgan leaving, Tony collapsed to the ground with a bruised nose and a swollen face, and a tear fell from the corner of his eyes. Namor of the main universe returned. Looking at Tony covered in scars, he sighed and squatted down. I really envy you that you can be beaten by Mr. Chu Shu. Tony. Back to New York, holy place. As soon as Chu Shu's feet landed, a thin and small figure came up and stared up at Chu Shu. Are you Mr. Chu Shu that my sister said? Ah? Chu Shu lowered his head and glanced at this strange but familiar little lowly. The whole person was stunned. If a person picks up a Lolita while working in Marvel, how long will his sentence be? If you're not my little sister, who are you? Chu Shu grabbed the little Loli's head, pushed her forward a little, and took a closer look. Wanda. Why have you become so small? When Chu Shu was surprised, he felt the energy in the little Loli's body. Wrong. Not Wanda. Who are you? If you don't tell me, do you believe that my uncle will take you to northern Myanmar to cut your waist? Chu Shu said with an evil smile. Morgan looked on curiously and couldn't help but stepped forward to touch it. My name is Wanda. My sister brought it back. The little Loli got rid of Morgan's touch and ran towards the back with a blushing face. He fell into the arms of Wanda, who appeared. What's going on? Did you bring yourself from the parallel universe? Chu Shu looked at the little Loli and then at Wanda. Main universe. Wanda nodded. Didn't I stop you before and let you wipe another Wanda? Now I'm taking the initiative to find one for you. I have no objection to finding one. No. Why is it so small? Chu Shu said, confused. The little Wanda in front of me is probably less than 10 years old. Red face, thin body. This is the most suitable Wanda I've found in a parallel universe. No bunny girl Wanda? Chu Shu was suspicious. No. Wanda's eyes flashed. No black stockings Wanda? No. No swimsuit Wanda? No. You can have this. This really doesn't exist. Seeing Chu Shu talking more and more outrageous. Black Cat, Morgan, Diana and others beside them all pricked up their ears. Wanda quickly interrupted Chu Shu. He leaned into Chu Shu's ear and whispered. Little Wanda is very pitiful. In her universe, she is the only one left. Pietro, Quicksilver, has not survived the initial ordeal, and the other partners have left, leaving her alone. Watching Wanda play the emotional card, Chu Shu raised his hands in surrender. Then there is no other way. Little Wanda, come here. Little Wanda moved over step by step. Chu Shu touched little Wanda's head and thought of the time when she first met Wanda. Go ahead and sit at the same table with little Groot. From now on, you will practice your skills and reap the benefits of your hard work. Do you understand? Little Wanda said she didn't understand. Just feeling the big hands whirling around my head. It contained a warmth that had never been experienced before. She was attracted to little Groot. Blockhead? I'm Groot. Hello, my name is Groot. Little Groot waved his little hand. Little Groot didn't seem to be aggressive. Lil Wanda stood up and then, under the leadership of little Groot, joined the glorious game training. Chu Shu nodded with satisfaction. I looked at little Wanda with joy as she embarked on the road to esports. Then, he turned his head and looked at Wanda with a smile. Her matter has been resolved. Should you give me an explanation? What did I say? Wanda felt guilty. How dare you pretend to be stupid? I'll take care of you. After Chu Shu finished speaking, he opened the dimensional portal and disappeared. Why are people gone? Black Cat was stunned. Are we kidding too much and Chu Shu is angry? Diana said worriedly. Mr. Chu Shu should not be such a stingy person. America shook her head. Next moment, among the crowd, Wanda suddenly screamed. Ah! Why are you here? No, don't scratch anywhere. No. I didn't, really. I was wrong. Chu Shu shang woo woo woo. Then Wanda disappeared. The women looked at each other. Then the next second everyone tacitly understood what happened. Everyone went to do their own things. After a long time, Chu Shu returned to New York's holy place refreshed. Little Wanda sat on the sofa with a serious face, staring closely at the mobile phone in her hand. Little Groot danced beside him. I'm Groot. Draw A. Hurry up and draw A. Pawns are the economy. I am Groot. At this time, you need to turn in the displacement skills as soon as possible, otherwise you will not be able to escape. I'm Groot. No, use output. Why do you need to use auxiliary? Chu Shu listened. Said suddenly. No, it's Groot. Are you sure she understands what you said? Chu Shu came over and looked at it for a long time, then pointed at the focused little Wanda and said. I'm Groot. Little Groot was confused. Then go to the corner and draw circles. It turns out that I have been talking to myself just now. Chu Shu touched little Wanda's head. Mr. Chu Shu, you are back. Little Wanda felt the warmth on her head. He raised his head in panic and greeted cautiously. It's okay, you have fun, little Wanda, you are very capable. After being encouraged, Shaoshan nodded happily. Keep practicing hard. Chu Shu smiled happily. Then the expression on his face froze. Wait a minute. Isn't this my natural hero? Why did it get cut like this? Chu Shu's eyes widened, as if he had discovered a new world. The more he looked, the paler his face became. Why was the king of hell cut into such a horrible shape? My name is Groot. Just updated 2 days ago. Chu Shu's eyes turned green. This skill modification? This damage reduction? This special effect deletion? I even play with a pineapple. No, I want to check in, Groot. Chu Shu ignored the aggrieved and feeding gaze of the black cat on one side. Immediately started his journey to score points with Groot. Hellfire. Devil's Embrace. Ultimate Move. Najirfa's Impact. Can't a set of skills take away a person? Chu Shu's expression was dull. He still remembered the first time he used the hero King of Hell. It was also in this position at that time. Rely on your own operations. Got the pentakill. Chu Shu is also ready to rely on this hero. Once again, hit the 1200 point Premier League Glory King rank. And now. Chu Shu turned to look at the shining badge hanging on the wall of Holy Place. Sky, have you seen it in the sky? I'm sorry for you and our efforts. Sky, who was sitting next to Chu Shu, turned around in shock. Brother, I'm not dead yet. Aren't I standing here properly? Sky is stupid. You are just playing games. You can't curse people to death. This way. Look at the glaring failure on your phone. Chu Shu looked at his account name as the world's #1 Hell King. What an irony. At first, when choosing this name, Chu Shu discussed it with Groot. Groot, do you think this title is a little bit bad? My name is Groot. I think it's a bit high profile. High profile? No, you don't understand what I mean. At that time, Chu Shu was in high spirits and held his chin up proudly. I think it should be named Almighty Universe, Super Universe, Infinite Multi-Universe, Pocket Dimension, Single Body, the First King of Hell. Got it? This mere, world's #1 Hell King, obviously does not meet my true level. Think back to the beginning. Little Groot had an expression of admiration on his face at that time, that kind of, you are my god, look in his eyes. Chu Shu is still fresh in my mind, but now. What's the point of me creating this new account? Seeing Chu Shu's eyes dull, he seemed to have lost the meaning of life. Sky held her forehead at the side. If little Wanda continues to stay in the holy place in New York, will she really not be led astray by these two guys? No. I can't be defeated by setbacks. Since this hero's attributes and skills have been reduced, there must be room for improvement, right? I am the almighty, multiple, pocket, parallel, first Hell King in the universe. I will never admit defeat. Chu Shu's eyes were red and he was ready to fight 2 more times. Results show game update. 15.2 version update preview. Mainly making epic adjustments to the King of Hell. Chu Shu's eyes lit up. Finally, the development team realized their mistake and their own Hell King is coming back. Let's go. Let's take you out to eat, and we'll improve your score when we come back. Chu Shu was in a good mood and no longer worried about these things, and was ready to take the girls to other universes for a feast. Correct. When people eat out, they usually go to hotels or resorts, and when it comes to dining out, they go abroad. But Chu Shu is different. Call everyone. The parallel universe begins. Before, I was looking for the rest of my life, Tien, the King of Chaos. America led everyone on many wrongful paths, and among them was a universe, a gourmet universe. There is also Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and all kinds of villains in this universe. But the strange thing is that the struggle between them is not resolved by force, but rely on delicious food. What kind of outrageous parallel world is this? In the food universe, Chu Shu and others walking on the street. I even saw 2 groups of people lifting up iron pots and starting to fight on the street. All of a sudden, garlic and onions dance, oyster sauce and chicken essence mingle. The last 2 groups of people were arrested by the police uncle who came and were taken to prison to make boneless chicken feet. It's just off the mark. Just get used to it. This is the characteristic of infinite multi-universe. Chu Shu said. While everyone was eye-opening, they also had a feast. The gourmet universe is truly a gourmet universe. The master chef of this universe, Tony Stark, makes golden egg fried rice to satisfy everyone. The god of steamed buns was inspired in this universe and determined to make more delicious steamed buns. If not, Chu Shu would still be thinking about the version update of Glory of the Premier League. No one even planned to come back, but Chu Shu couldn't wait any longer. He can't wait to come back and rectify the name of the King of Hell. Just got back to New York holy place. The mantra of creation came out. It doesn't matter anymore if you consume the power of the morning star. A golden title of world's #1 Hell King appeared above Chu Shu's head. Swagger through the market. Sky. Groot. Come on, come on. Little Wanda, don't be idle. Applaudus from the side. The black cat consciously prepared the fruit. An ancient one, who came back from dinner, was just ready to enjoy a peaceful life. Seeing Chu Shu making a fuss, roll your eyes. It was teleported directly to another place. I've never seen anyone from level single universe behave so badly. Half an hour later, as the big word, failure, appeared on several people's mobile phones. Chu Shu was silent. The flashing neon title above the head even dimmed a bit. So, in this update, the double blast has weakened the Lord of Hell? I am Groot. Probably, seemingly, maybe, right? Looking at Chu Shu, 0-3 record, the scene fell into silence again. Little Wanda breathed a sigh of relief on the side. Finally, she no longer had to applaud. Chu Shu opened the update announcement and took a look. Hero weakened. Due to the good performance of the new hero, Scarlet Witch, we decided to weaken the King of Hell. Details as follows. Weaken the tankiness, damage, battery life, burst of Hell King. Reducing the duration of ultimate move, increasing skill CD, E-skill damage reduction and weakening. The more Chu Shu looked at him, the darker his face became. No wonder the more I played the game just now, the more I felt something was wrong. At this time, jingle bell bell, the phone rang. Black Cat picked it up and looked at it. It read, Tony is a big piece of shit. Then he looked at Chu Shu and others who were filled with low pressure. Black Cat consciously answered the call. Hi, Mr. Stark, Mr. Chu Shu doesn't have time now. No, don't hang up the phone, this is really important. It's Dimension Mephisto Quagos. Quagos appears beyond the moon. He's in bad shape. Eh? Quagos? As someone close to Chu Shu, Black Cat definitely knows Quagos. Okay. I will talk to Mr. Chu Shu here. Please make sure he arrives. I'm afraid something big that will endanger the universe will happen. Tony on the other side of the phone said anxiously. Please rest assured, Mr. Stark, Mr. Chu Shu is not a person who cannot distinguish between priorities. After hanging up the phone, Black Cat walked up. Mr. Chu Shu, Stark called. Quagos seems to be in trouble. It's a big deal. A big one. Chu Shu raised his head. I don't care what is, quags or hags. All I know is that this lousy game company is in trouble. How dare you weaken my world's best King of Hell without authorization? Did you ask for my permission? Did you get the permission of the #1 Hell King in my universe? The energy on Chu Shu erupted. Emperor Weishan's ball of light surrounded him, the Seth snake crown emerged from his head, and the all-black death sword kept trembling. Think of the game. Enemies and even teammates mocked his account name as the world's #1 Hell King. Mubangbu is here. Everyone is waiting for the network cable to kill the devil. But not before that. Chu Shu must first let this game company know what the real Hell King. Next moment. White light flashed. Chu Shu disappeared into New York's holy place. Black Cat was dumbfounded. She now wants to take back what she just said to Tony Stark. That's right. Mr. Chu Shu is indeed not a person who can't distinguish between priorities. The issue is, the weight of the things in front of him seems to be different from other people's. Chu Shu was not far away, he just flew over the holy place in New York. Because of being angry, the energy in his body is constantly dissipating. Countless tentacles, shadows, and dark energies slowly appeared in the sky over New York. Ordinary people only feel that the sky seems to be cloudy. Is it going to rain? But many powerful beings around the world are trembling. It's over. Who was this blind person who provoked that guy? Looks like someone is going to suffer, some people gloated. The ring of Hades worn by Chu Shu is also constantly releasing Sithorn's dark power. As soon as this terrifying force that transcended diversity appeared, it immediately shocked the eternity deep in the universe. Brother Chu, no, Master Chu, can't you let me? Eternity finished. Next moment. He then traveled through endless space and came to Chu Shu's side. Who is it? Who made my brother Chu angry? The eternity of at the moment vividly displays the dog-legged special effects. He glared at the air in front of Chu Shu. Elder brother? Who made you angry? Just tell me and I'll go check on him. Yongheng approached Chu Shu and asked cautiously. Blow up the earth for me. Ah? Critical time. A hand slapped Chu Shu hard on the back of the head from behind. Who? Chu Shu turned his head sharply. Discovered to be the Ancient One. If you want to go crazy in other universes, don't go crazy in our universe. Okay. Angry at the sight of the bald head, Chu Shu quickly put away his momentum and immediately pulled Diana, who was joining in the fun. In a flash he disappeared. Eternity watched the Ancient One reach middle age, with a bald head, full of anger, and a menopausal buff. Silence for half a second. Hurry up and run away the next moment. If you stack up this set of buffs, you can't afford to offend them. This way. Chu Shu's focus has been on the game character of the King of Hell, who has been weakened. No attention was paid to the scene beyond the Earth. And on the moon. Almost all the Avengers heroes were present. Everyone was ready, standing on the moon, looking seriously at the giant thing floating in the void beyond the moon. The behemoth thing was composed of several huge tentacles, with more than a dozen huge amounts of eyeballs in the middle. At the moment, Mephisto, whose size is comparable to half the size of the moon, is already dying. Even the annihilation energy in its body is overflowing uncontrollably and slowly dissipating in the universe. Apparently it was so weak that it couldn't even control its own energy. What should we do now? Do we have to find a way to send him away? Send away. How to send away? This guy is about the same size as the moon. Tell me, who can have a relationship with him? On the moon. Everyone in the Avengers Alliance stared at each other, unable to do anything against Quagos. It blocks the lighting in our Atalan, so we can't dry our clothes and quilts. The translation of this sentence is wrong. Black Bat King was so anxious that he kept gesticulating with his hands as fast as the Hokage seal. Okay. Black Bolt, it won't be a problem if I stay here. The good old Captain America keeps persuading the Black King. We can endure the calm for a while, but we won't be angry if we take a step back. Okay, it's urgent. The other side. Tony hung up the phone and sighed. How is it? Still unable to contact Mr. Chu Shu? Namor asked. No, Tony shook his head. After calling for a long time and no one answered, he lost his dignity. No matter how you put it, it can be regarded as indirectly seducing your own daughter. Why do you always lose control at critical moments? Maybe we can just talk to it and find out what's going on. Tony was also extremely worried. The scene of the last time I approached Dimension Mephisto is still vivid in my mind. At that time, my head was almost split. If it weren't for the Earth, I wouldn't have done such a reckless thing. But now it's obvious Quarks is in trouble, and if he doesn't figure out the trouble and solve it. Just wait for Chu Shu to come over. I don't know what monkey year and horse month I have to wait for. Above the moon. Floating quags, he recovered from his physical injuries while breathing. Suddenly for a moment, it seemed to feel the energy fluctuations of Chu Shu on the Earth. Cassie. No, Chu Shu has become stronger again. Wait. This energy. Quagos's eyes widened more than a dozen times. Because in addition to feeling the energy of annihilation, it also felt three other energies that made it fearful. And these three energies are enough to destroy the universe. It actually exploded on the small Earth at the same time. Trinity Wycian Emperor. Set, the Snake God. The power of Sithorn, as a member of Dimension Mephisto. Quagos is naturally very aware of these three ultimate bosses among the Mephisto dimensions. And then the next second, it then realized whose hands these three forces were. Could it be that? The boss already knows what happened to me, so he is so angry? Quagos was deeply moved. Very good. A beholder, right? Awesome, right? Beat me like this. Just wait. My boss Chu Shu is already angry, just wait for me. At this moment, Quagos almost regained consciousness and waved his tentacles proudly. It wants the beholder to know what it means. To beat a dog, you also need to look at the owner. But the next moment, it cannot feel Chu Shu's energy fluctuations. It was as if this burst of energy was just a joke. Why? No, where is Brother Chu who is as old as me? Just when Quagos was looking forward to seeing it, Chu Shu has already brought Diana to the game production company of Glory of the Premier League, T-News. Looking at this somewhat familiar icon in front of me, Chu Shu fell into deep thought. Could it be that this is the reincarnation of fate? Why is there still news in America? The favorability score is 5 points. Come on, Diana, let's go in. Finished. The two of them forced their way in. The security guard at the door was about to stop Chu Shu. The next moment, the demonic energy confused his mind and made him get out of the way. Come to the front desk. Chu Shu knocked on the table. Who is your president and game designer? Hey, do you have an appointment? There was a blonde girl with big waves at the front desk. She looked at Chu Shu's face and Diana, and then flipped through the folder in front of her. Sudden. He raised his head in surprise. You are the king of hell. Ah. I am your fan, can you sign my name for me? With that said, the girl at the front desk pulled open her work clothes. Fair skin exposed. Looking at the little fan with eyes in front of him. Chu Shu touched her nose and whispered to Anna beside her. Am I so obvious? Why do people recognize me as soon as I come out? Diana glanced at Chu Shu. The space belt of Cimentos, the cloak of the great demon shadow, the all-black death sword, the snake crown of Set, the light ball of Emperor Weixin, the ring of Hades. He is fully armed and almost looks like attacking Mephisto in a certain dimension. For a while, Diana didn't know how to answer this sentence. Chu Shu simply didn't think much about these words, and the black energy star in his hand danced. So he wrote on the chest of the girl at the front desk, the first Hell King in the universe, Mo, crossed out, Chu. Finished writing. Chu Shu glanced at the excited little fans guiltily. He almost used Modu's name to deceive others. Little sister, you've signed the signature, you've shaken my hand, and you've left your phone number. Now can you call your president and designer? Do you have an appointment? In an instant, the blonde and blue-eyed little fan, whose eyes were originally full of light, turned back into dead fish eyes. Chasing stars is chasing stars, work is work. When it came to work, the girl at the front desk immediately changed her business look. Gone. I know all the people in T-News are not good people. Diana grabbed Chu Shu, who was about to engage in a 1-versus-1 single combat with the little girl in front of her. He took out the mantra lasso and wrapped it around the little girl's hand. Tell me, your president and game designer, where are they? As the effect of the mantra lasso unfolded, Diana also got the answer she wanted. Immediately afterwards, the two of them took the elevator and rushed up. League of Legends designer, your grandpa Chu Shu is here. Got to the floor. With a stinky face, Chu Shu opened the door and walked forward. What comes into view is a hall. There are dozens of workstations inside. Among them, a white man sat in the most conspicuous position, wearing gold-rimmed glasses and opening small mung bean-sized eyes. This is one of the goals of Chu Shu's trip. Your name is George Whitman, right? Look at the middle-aged man in front of you. Chu Shu's fist hardened. Diana behind him immediately pulled. Chu Shu took a deep breath. Not angry, I am a civilized person. It's me, who are you looking for? George turned his head and looked at Chu Shu doubtfully. You do not know me? Chu Shu lowered his head and looked at his outfit. Isn't this conspicuous enough? Ah? Should I get to know you? I have to meet a dozen die-hard fans of the King of Hell like you in a day? You are the most unlikable cosplayer among them. Even the dress is wrong, remember. The weapon of the King of Hell is the flaming sword. Look what you are holding, hey Bu Lu Chu. Before Chu Shu could explain his intention, George started to comment on Chu Shu's outfit, and was especially dissatisfied with the all-black death sword. It means this is not the classic costume of the King of Hell. Chu Shu took a deep breath. He calmly explained his purpose. After a slur that was comparable to Guo Dagang's crosstalk, George Whitman understood what Chu Shu meant. So, you mean to let me change the King of Hell back? Talk about your own professional field. George shook his head and said seriously. Weakening the Lord of Hell would be a liability to this game. The previous version of the Hell King was too strong. If it was not weakened, other gamers would not be able to experience it at all. Moreover, I don't really like this hero called the Hell King. You don't like it? It has control, displacement and output. Such a perfect hero. As a designer, you don't like it. Chu Shu captured the point. What sound? Diana seemed to hear the sound of glass breaking. Chu Shu covered her chest. That's my passionate e-sports heart. Chu Shu couldn't understand. A strong critic and handsome yuppie hero. The chief designer of the game doesn't like it. At this moment, Diana clearly felt that the surrounding air pressure began to decrease. But George didn't notice this. He shook his head. If it weren't for one of our designer team being a die-hard fan of the King of Hell. Do you think I'm going to allow this character into the game? And this hero, as I expected, attracted a lot of infamy as soon as it went online. Now it is absolutely natural to weaken it. George became more and more enthusiastic as he talked. In the future, I will also marginalize this character. It is a hero that affects the balance of the game and does not help our game at all. It's over. Hear these words. Diana looked at George from the sidelines. Even if the Trinity Wycian Emperor comes now, he can't save you, kid. Okay. Since you think the ability of the hero King of Hell is not worth mentioning, then I will take you to see his true strength. The words just fell. Chu Shu, Diana, and George disappeared. The office instantly fell into chaos. After receiving the report, the American police responded immediately. They understand. This must be another commotion caused by super abilities, so they quickly reported the matter to the Avengers. When the Avengers arrived on Earth, Daredevil arrived, only to find that George has returned safely. But the bottom of his pants was wet, and he was sitting on the ground with his legs fighting. What happened? I'm an Avengers member, I can help you. Daredevil finished. George slowly recovered. He gingerly told Daredevil what he had just experienced. That guy took me to a weird place, full of eerie atmosphere. That's not Earth at all. Then he stood in front of me and summoned a hideous monster like magic. Summon a person with super ability. Daredevil nodded and wrote it down in a notebook in Braille. What does the monster look like? Daredevil continued to ask. George shivered. It doesn't matter what the monster looks like, because I can't see it clearly. I just feel a boundless fear welling up in my heart. But that guy, he actually was like training his son. He gave the poor monster a beating. Ah? Daredevil's head is full of questions. What's the situation? The summoner beat up his summons. Is this considered domestic violence? Even if he has rich experience. I have seen all kinds of strange super ability people, but I never expected such a plot. Where's the back? Daredevil continued. Then he took me to another place, summoned another monster, and beat me to a pulp again. I do not understand. What huge mistake did those innocent little monsters make? To go through such a tragic experience, tears welled up in George's eyes. As the designer-director of a well-known listed game company, at the moment, he looked like a little girl who was being bullied. Keep talking. A SHIELD member who came with Daredevil was staring at the computer screen intently. Then he lowered his voice and said, his spirit is polluted, but the degree of pollution is not too high. Daredevil nodded, and then asked George's colleagues. By the way, can you please describe the appearance and clothing of that super ability person? This way. Chu Shu just returned to New York Holy Place. Sky trotted over with good news next to him. Mr. Chu Shu. T-News announced that the Premier League Honor game will undergo an epic overhaul. The King of Hell will transform into the new boss in the game. Chu Shu rubbed his hands and smiled. That's right, it's not in vain that I just. What just? The deep voice of Ancient One sounded. Don't tell me that this is the reason why you went out? What about the moon? Moon? Chu Shu scratched his head and then winked at the black cat beside him. Black Cat nodded understandingly. Then he gestured with his hands, just like the Hokage seal, turning into afterimages. In just 5 or 6 seconds, a complete set of sign language was produced. In terms of snitching, black cats have abilities. Don't worry, I have made arrangements. I will make proper arrangements now. Chu Shu made an okay gesture, striding outside. He also snatched away the meat buns that the god of buns was about to enjoy. Stepping out of the gate of Holy Place in New York, the next moment Chu Shu appeared on the moon. Looking towards the vast ocean of the universe. In the universe, Quagos is nearly 10,000 meters long and floating slowly. Next moment. This ancient creature. The eyes that were almost closed suddenly opened wide. Boss. You are finally here. In the universe, Tony, who was trying to get close to Quagos, let out a cry. Although a vacuum environment cannot transmit sound. But everyone knows that funny scream was coming from Tony. Why are you shouting so loudly? Tony staggered away from Quagos. Who knew that Mephisto would suddenly go crazy in this half-dead dimension? The mental pollution that was originally calm suddenly expanded at this moment. Tony fled back as fast as he could, but no one cares. Everyone seemed to have found a backbone and surrounded young Chu Shu. Chu Shu. You are finally here. The flowers we waited for have all faded. Captain America supported the Black King and walked over. What's wrong? How come you're like this after not seeing each other for a few days? Chu Shu asked. Black Bolt made gestures excitedly while Captain America explained on the side. It's nothing. I ate too much of Earth's specialties and I'm allergic. Clam? Tony staggered back to the moon. As soon as his feet touched the ground, he rushed towards Chushu, his tone full of urgency. Good brother. You are finally here. This guy's situation is very bad. If it can even be hit like this, what kind of opponent will we face now? Tony's face was full of worry, and his eyes were fixed on Mephisto, the dimension above. Chushu looked up at the sky. Nodded. It was quite miserable. One of the big tentacles was missing for no reason, just like someone used it to make sushi. But no matter what, he and Quagos always have a cooperative relationship. Chushu has not forgotten the protection money that others send regularly. I gonna go see. As soon as the voice fell, Chushu disappeared without a trace. Everyone turned their attention to Quagos. Unexpectedly, Chushu would be back where he was in the next second. Said to Black Bolt. You should eat less specialty products, especially seafood, the radiation has been a bit high recently. After saying this, Chushu disappeared again. Black Bolt could only stand there blankly. He is so gentle, I cried to death. Chushu teleported to Quagos. See Chushu. Quagos' eyes immediately filled with tears, which reminded Chushu of the word tearful. Quagos' eyes were filled with tears. Tears are as deep and wide as the Pacific Ocean. Boss. Who beat you into this state? As soon as Quagos opened his mouth, he was choked back by Chushu's words. Can only brew emotions again. Again. Sir, you must seek justice for me. Quagos wailed. When it saw Chushu, it was like a bullied child seeing its parents. One of the tentacles, which was 10,000 meters long, gently scratched his eyes. Then he threw his tears towards the moon below. Vomit, are you polite? Tony and others left with dissatisfied sounds. Only Namor took the initiative to greet him, enjoying it like a pervert. Hey, dear, these are the tears of Dimension Mephisto. Why are you hiding? Namor said confused. Boss, it's a beholder. My dimension is under attack from a beholder. It broke down my defenses and forced me to struggle through difficult situations. If I hadn't thought about repaying the kindness of the boss, I might have started a life and death battle with it. But I held back and made up my mind to tell you the important information about the beholder's attack. That's why I went through so many hardships to escape here. Stop, 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 stop. Chushu was shocked. You were so innocent before, but you were fooled by me in the ocean field. Why are you talking nonsense now? Who did you learn this stupid habit from? Forehead. Quagos glanced furtively at Chushu with the smallest of his many eyeballs. Boss, is there a possibility that I am self-taught? Chushu glared at Quagos angrily. Do you really think you can't read eyes? Let's go, you've been bullied, I always have to find a way for you. Chushu, am honest and above board, I am loyal. This kind of unfair thing is placed in front of me, and I can't ignore it. Hear this. Quagos smiled flatteringly, but Chushu then added. After this incident, the energy in the tentacle dimension is 28%. Quagos cried again. Above the moon. All the Avengers heroes were stunned. How could a dimensional monster full of eyeballs and tentacles have such rich expressions? By the way, there's one more thing. Chushu remembered something. I sent a person to the tentacle dimension, do you have any impression? Master Chushu, are you talking about him? As if by magic, Quagos pulled out a slimy stick from nowhere. This little stick is none other than Namor from the 838 universe. It's just that at the moment, he was covered in unknown mucus, had a mental breakdown, and was mumbling something. I wipe. What did you do to him? Chushu pinched her nose and moved forward. Quagos hurriedly explained. When he arrived in our dimension, the beholder happened to be here too. The aftermath of the war seemed to have affected his sanity. Boss, is this your companion? Quagos said cautiously. I'm afraid Chushu will blame it for not protecting people well. No, he's just a person who walks a narrow road. Don't worry about him, the untouched dimension. Chushu kicked Namor from the 838 universe to the lunar prison, letting him keep company with the supergiant. It just so happened that the mental state of both of them was not very friendly. Well? Do I still want to go? Quagos obviously doesn't want to go back to the tentacle dimension. Nonsense, if you don't go, who will lead the way? I just celebrated my 18th birthday and I can't remember the way. Chushu said. But now the energy in my body is almost exhausted, and my body has been seriously injured. Quagos grimaced. The next moment, The energy of annihilation was transferred to Quag's body by Chu Shu through the air. Now that you have energy, do you also want to take the narrow road? Come on, brother Chu, suddenly my waist and legs don't hurt anymore. Next moment, Chu Shu and Quagos came to the tentacle dimension. The two of them entered together. I saw endless tentacles all around me, all over the entire dimension, which had become scorched black at the moment. How did it become like this? My dimension? Quagos was startled. It wasn't just the tentacles that were destroyed. In this dimension, strange energy formed huge cracks one after another. The cracks keep pouring in all kinds of fog, which is the void between dimensions, filling the fog. This means that the dimension is severely fragmented and may even be destroyed. How dare it? How dare it destroy my dimension? I swear. Quagos was angry, but he swallowed his angry words halfway. Because it saw in the distance the culprit that caused all this, the beholder. Brother Chu, here, I'm not blind, Chu Shu cursed angrily. He immediately looked at the beholder. The beholder's body was about the same size as Quagos's, with 7 or 8 dark brown tentacles twisting in all directions. At first glance, it looks like a shabby product. But unlike Quagos, it only has one huge amount of eyes, which are transparent and pure. But the energy fluctuations contained in it are impossible to ignore. Not the real body. Yes, this is just the foothold for the beholder to come to the dimension, and it is also its duplication. A duplication can make you look like this. Quagos was aggrieved. The beholder was once the ruler of hundreds of dimensions. Its power exceeds the imagination of real dimensions. It has swallowed countless stars and treated souls from countless dimensions as snacks. At the moment, Quagos was immersed in painful memories, and his body even trembled slightly. But didn't notice it. Chu Shu was silently switching his equipment on one side. All black death sword? Forget it, it's disgusting, don't touch my sword. Emperor Weishan's ball of light? Light is so cruel to darkness. Da ba ba. Ah, you kid. Yes, it's you. Chu Shu suddenly aimed at the beholder in the distance. Shouted. Street boy. Eat my Italian cannon. Chu Shu took out a lighter, in an instant. The surrounding environment became cold and lifeless. Immediately afterwards, a light that was too bright to be looked at penetrated space and time. Create huge amounts of energy vortex. As the energy vortex surged, the tentacles and stones on the ground that had become charred instantly turned into powder. The endless energy creates an extremely terrifying suction force. The dust in the sky has been cleared. Energy burst. The entire tentacle dimension began to vibrate violently. The dimension vibrates, causing a chain reaction throughout the space. The unwanted tentacle dimension that had been destroyed by the beholder seemed to begin to dissolve at this moment. Stop, brother Chu. Are you demolishing my house? It's too late, Quagos, look at you, let me light a cigarette for you. Next moment, Chu Shu pressed the lighter button. In an instant, dazzling white light filled the entire tentacle dimension. Quagos' big eyes narrowed into tiny slits at this moment. Wait until it opens its eyes again. Only then did I realize that there was an endless ditch reaching the sky in the middle of the entire tentacle dimension. Everything from the feet of the two of them to the infinity visible to the naked eye. Including that level single universe beholder duplication. All disappeared. No? What about a beholder like me? Quagos turned his big head stiffly, looking at Chu Shu, who put on a pair of sunglasses at some point. Beholder. That's it. Chu Shu blew the non-existent smoke on the ultimate eraser. Boss. Has the beholder been eliminated? Quagos still looked at this scene in disbelief. Otherwise, if you're worried, why don't you go take a look? Chu Shu finished speaking. Quarks moved forward cautiously. On its way forward, countless residual energies are still evaporating. When he arrived at the location where the beholder was just now, Quagos was stunned. The beholder's duplication has disappeared. Only half of the tentacle with fleshy remains was left, and Quarks recognized that it was the beholder's limb. How can it be? Quagos turned his head and looked at the lighter in Chu Shu's hand in shock. You can crush the beholder in one move. You are so awesome, I declare to you. What kind of rainbow fart are you shooting? Chu Shu said coldly. Let's go to the beholder's base camp and completely eliminate this bee. What? We still need to find his true form. No, it's impossible. Its identity is a taboo that spans hundreds of dimensions. Boss. Why don't we forget it? We won't avenge this. We really can't defeat the beholder, Quagos said anxiously. Don't worry, the worst is possible when the time comes. Chu Shu smiled disdainfully. It doesn't matter. Hearing this, Quagos had no choice but to agree to Chu Shu's plan. Boss. Where are we going? Let's go to the ocean dimension first. I remember that it was also the territory of the beholder. Chu Shu said. The passage between dimensions was opened again, and the next moment, the two people disappeared. Before leaving, Quarks glanced regretfully at his tentacle dimension. I hope that when I come back, there is still a chance to save this dimension. Came to the ocean dimension. As soon as they set foot on it, the two of them noticed the aura of the beholder, and the aura was relatively strong. It's just that Quagos is weird. Why did this place become like this? Just entered the ocean dimension. Quagos' dozens of big eyes looked at the scene in the dimension in surprise. In the endless sea, countless corpses of marine creatures were seen floating in the deep sea. And around, countless terrifying fish with tentacles and eyeballs on their bodies. They are devouring the corpses of these sea creatures. The upper level of the ocean dimension is also gray, and the originally blue ocean appears a disgusting reddish-brown color. After noticing the presence of other creatures in the ocean, a shark-like monster suddenly swam out of the sand and gravel on the seabed. When its body leaves the sand and gravel on the ocean floor, only then did Quagos see clearly. This guy actually has legs at his tail. At the same time, it has flesh-colored wings on its back, and the wings are composed of scales and flesh, driving it across the seabed towards Chu Shu and Chigus. Are these guys crazy? Even Mephisto from my dimension dares to attack? Quarks waved his tentacles, and the next moment, the creature was pulverized by it. The energy of the blood powder cannot be dissipated in a short time, beginning to slowly corrode Quagos' tentacles. What the hell? This energy is so evil, it's so chaotic. He looked at Quagos, who was mumbling while holding the tentacle in his mouth. Chu Shu. Is this caused by the beholder? No, the beholder you mentioned is sleeping there. Following Chu Shu's instructions, Quarks looked into the distance. Then, on the seabed in the distance, I saw a familiar huge body, another beholder's duplication. But the huge amounts of eyeballs have dimmed. Right in the middle of the eyeball, one weird blob after another hangs above. As for the beholder's body, 7 or 8 tentacles have been completely broken, leaving only its body floating on the seabed, allowing the strange fish around it to bite it. What happened in the ocean dimension? Quarks shuddered. Like a beholder, a duplication of a single universe, a dimensional Mephisto that is more powerful than itself. He couldn't escape the fate of becoming fish food? While Quagos was floating above the beholder, he was thinking. Chu Shu came to his head and stepped on his head with a heavy kick. Go. Go up. Okay, stand still, brother. Next moment, Chu Shu went up at great speed. Quagos didn't know what medicine Chu Shu was selling in the gourd. But he has such an advantage. Obedient. Quagos held Chu Shu and swam towards the upper level of the sea. And as if it had just left the seabed rolled violently. The corpses of countless creatures rose up as the seawater rolled. Viewed from a high altitude, the entire seabed looks like a bucket of tears mixed with various residual crystals, constantly churning under Quagos' solemn gaze. A huge and twisted head slowly emerged. The strange light comes and goes, setting off the figure, sometimes falling into shadow and sometimes revealing the whole figure. This behemoth suddenly appeared, dark blue skin, with a little moisture, and there are countless deformities and weirdnesses all over its body. It's hard to describe. And with that comes There were also waves of low and indescribably terrifying sounds, corroding Quark's thoughts. Cthulhu Futon. Chu Shu understands. This is the Cthulhu life that he originally summoned to destroy the ocean dimension. Why does it feel like it's more dimensional Mephisto than me? Quags said. When Chu Shu heard this, he looked at Cthulhu Futon's appearance, and then at Quages beside him. Can't help but say, Qua, after comparing this, you seem to be much cuter than him. At the same time, Cthulhu Futon rising from the seabed. Evil and undisguised eyes were cast on the two creatures in the sky. You have a familiar smell on your body. Your breath has lingered in this dimension. Why'd I come to this place? You seem to be able to give me the answer. A strange voice came to Chu Shu's ears. Cthulhu Futon seems to still remember his experience of being summoned by Chu Shu. Why, are you uncomfortable living here? A big swimming pool, a big sword, what man? Oh no, what tentacle monster would say no to these? Chu Shu looked at the boundless ocean around him and spread his hands. Human. What are you talking about? The voice said again. At the same time, Quagos looked at Chu Shu strangely. Brother, who are you talking to? Just as Quagos was confused. It looked down. I saw Cthulhu Futon's figure gradually becoming blurry. In its eyes, it vaguely transformed into a tentacle monster covered with graceful white gauze. The kind of graceful mountain, in Quagos's eyes. Cthulhu Futon's eyes constantly deform. One moment it appears to be growing in plurality, and the next moment it disappears, like a black hole sucking souls. At the same time, in the gray sea, countless algae grow tiny tentacles one after another. Snapped, just when Quagos was in trouble. A big hand of illusory energy slapped Quagos hard on the head. Quagos was awakened by this slap. Clear sight. The tentacles that originally grew out of countless tiny dust particles in the space have disappeared. In front of him was still the strange and ugly face of Cthulhu Futon. It's so weird, boss. In just a short moment, Quagos's body became a little sluggish. It shrunk its huge body into a small ball, and its thousands of eyes did not dare to look at the opposite side. Shao Kua, although you look like the old ones, you are not after all. Now that you have met the real owner, how dare you stare at him? If you are the one, none of the male guests are as brave as you. Chu Shu wrote lightly. Anyway, he will not be contaminated by any evil force. You are special. But you shouldn't have brought me into this world and appeared in front of me. The voice continued. The next moment, endless tentacles appeared, sweeping towards Chu and Quagos. Silly dick. Chu Shu raised a middle finger. These tentacle attacks look terrifying, but Engels can actually stop them by himself. It's just that Cthulhu's hidden ultimate move is the soul corrosion that constantly affects the violent creatures. Under this pollution, the mutated fish schools that were originally swaying slowly in the sea seem to have taken stimulants. Attack other creatures around you indiscriminately. At the same time, endless strange scenes once again appeared in Quagos's mind. In a trance, it felt as if it had grown wings and could soar. Or maybe he became the master of the beholder and occupied the entire universe. Even if it's the Mephisto dimension, there is no way to resist the corrosion of the soul at this moment. However, just the next second, Quagos was suddenly awakened by a voice that seemed to come from far away. Let's go, let's go. If we go any slower, we won't be able to catch the number 2 bus. It's Chu Shu's voice. In the next scene, as the scenery in front of him shook, Quagos came into the universe. All the strange sights in front of him disappeared. It was as if everything just now was an illusion, including the ocean dimension and Cthulhu Futon. Within the ocean dimension, the god Cthulhu, composed of countless evil thoughts, appeared. Crowded in the place where Chu Shu is, evil thoughts run rampant, and all creatures in the endless sea begin to go crazy. Begins to expand. The flesh and blood were mixed together, forming patches of densely packed flesh. Like phlegm bacteria, it fills the entire sea area. But I didn't pay attention to the changes in the ocean. Shao Ke, I'm busy beating up other tentacle monsters right now, so I don't have time to beat you up. Don't engage in mental pollution here either. Otherwise, I will send you back to the ancient world to experience and practice. Think back to the words Chu Shu left before leaving. Cthulhu Futon was confused. Prehistoric? What is that? Can it be eaten? I thought about it for a long time and couldn't figure it out. For a long time, Cthulhu Futon turned his gaze to the place where evil thoughts gathered in the void. Then slowly entered the depths of the ocean dimension. Fell into silence. The other side. Quagos regained consciousness and looked around. Finally saw Chu Shu. Boss, what was that just now? It felt so weird. Quagos was frightened. Cthulhu, the great old one, is just a little octopus from another universe. We'll clean it up later. Let's go find your father first. Chu Shu doesn't care about Tao. Boss, the beholder is just my creator, not my father. In your human terms, there is no blood relationship. Quagos explained with a grimace. Don't worry about it, hurry up. Brother Chu. Are you in a hurry? Aren't you talking nonsense? Labor and management are anxious to go back to playing games. Otherwise, I would have tried the octopus sashimi from the world of Cthulhu just now to see if it tastes good. Chu Shu cursed. By the way, by this time, Glory of the Premier League should have been updated, right? Chu Shu silently counted the time in her heart. How boring it must be to lose such a soul figure in the Glory Canyon. Boss, I can't find the location of the beholder now. The dimension it is in is not at the same level as ours. Quagos carefully felt the remaining energy on the remains of the beholder he just picked up, and shook his head. Chu Shu definitely understood what Quagos was talking about. For powerful creatures like beholders, ordinary dimensions can no longer accommodate them. Just like Wanda. At this time, we can only wander in the void space outside the infinite multi-universe. Fine. Chu Shu sighed. See this. Quagos was delighted. The scene has been restored, and the beholder has also lost 2 duplications. How about we get together? Quagos asked tentatively. Chu Shu glared at it. You loser. If you are so cowardly, don't say you are my younger brother when you go out. You will really bring disgrace to the labor and management. You are useless if you can't find it. Did you think I couldn't find it either? Immediately, the playing cards in Chu Shu's hand flashed past. See the familiar white light. Quagos had not yet reacted. Expel Quagos. To the presence of the Old Ones, a member of the Marvel worldview, one of the interdimensional beings, the master of the mirror of nothingness, the Lord of Chaos, and the Beholder. Chu Shu finished speaking. Quagos had not yet reacted. The whole person was sucked in by a white light as if he had entered a drum washing machine. What a disgusting feeling. Quagos only had time to complain. Waiting to wake up. I found myself surrounded by countless chaos forces. It wraps its body like a balloon. This power. Quagos looked up in horror. Then, pupils began to tremble. I saw the chaotic flow of space and time around me, and the darkness and nothingness above my head. A powerful energy began to expand. Moment. The darkness of nothingness was cut through by intense green light, accompanied by a sharp and harsh sound. An ancient and evil being slowly awakens. The endless darkness suddenly began to gather, converging into a dazzling thing beyond the black light of a long rainbow. Look around. What is visible to the naked eye? That area, which is like a file size in one dimension, turns out to be just a huge amount of eyeballs. The surrounding chaos and fog slowly dissipated. In the long river of time and space, the physical body of the beholder is accommodated. On the skin of the tentacles, which are like ancient bronze, there are one after another strange or more terrifying things. Next moment, the beholder opened its eyes. He stared indifferently at the uninvited guest who broke into his territory. The strong sense of oppression made Quagos unable to move, and he could only say hello awkwardly. Long time no see, Shuma Gorath, did you eat on May 5th today? Quagos. After the terrible calm. A voice that pierced his soul made Quagos' body tremble slightly. This is not because it is afraid. If it were afraid, it would not betray the beholder in the first place. This is the suppression of blood. It makes its body tremble. Boss. Brother Chu. Master Chu. Come here quickly, I will be in trouble if you don't come. Quagos was extremely anxious. You have a lot of strange auras about you, including Emperor Weishan, Sithorn, and a human being. The beholder stared at Quagos. Simply because Quarks spent some time with Chu Shu. The beholder then noticed many auras and sources related to Chu Shu's various powers. It seems that you have been to many places. Would you like to tell your former master what you went through after escaping from prison? Hear this. Quagos opened his mouth. What can I say at this time? Give the beholder a copy of The Travels of Quagos. Shuma Gorath. Great beholder. I finally admire your majestic figure. Just when Quagos was at an impasse, a sound came from Quagos' head. Thank God. Chu Shu is here. Chu Shu's words can be heard. Quagos was stunned for a moment. Aren't we here to fight? Why did the boss's attitude towards the beholder become so good? Sudden. Quagos reacted. This familiar attitude, the smile that is both flattering and graceful. Boss, this is a lie. Ah no, I want to borrow the energy of the beholder. Realizing this, Quagos looked at the beholder with pity, and a feeling of sympathy appeared in its heart. Humanity. Only then did the beholder notice Chu Shu. In fact, the size of human beings is too small, and they are like dust in front of it in Quagos' size. The source of Quagos' aura, is you, human. Tell me why you're here. If the beholder hadn't been bored by the long years of boredom, it would not give Quagos and Chu Shu a chance to stand in front of him at all. Feel the beholder's contempt. Quagos peeked at Chu Shu. The boss can't help but show off his knife, right? Thinking of this, Quagos looked at his little arms and legs, tentacles, and then at the huge Shuma Gorath. When the fight breaks out later, which method should you choose? It would be more peaceful to leave. Great beholder, as your disciple on Earth. I heard of Quago's evil deeds, so I give it to you as a gift. Ha, after a while, the beholder sneered. But I remembered, I've heard of you, human. Chu Shu cast doubtful eyes on Quages. What? Have you ever told it about me? Quagos was also confused. I don't know, Brother Chu. I can't even hide from it. It seems that there is no useful information to be extracted from Quagos. Chu Shu was patient and looked at the beholder with a smile. Is there any misunderstanding here, dear Mr. iPanda? Did you mistake me for one of your former followers? No, I've heard rumors about you from other dimensions. The beholder said indifferently. Chu Shu smiled. Could it be that his glorious title of the strongest king with 1200 points has spread so far? The deceiver of the main dimension, the stealer of hell, the liar with a holy soul, the energy thief, the ruthless iron hand, the dimensional surplus thief, the incredible hole driller, and the top single color pen. Who passed on the colored pens listed above? All F*K you like a fairy. Have the ability to solo. He forcibly calmed down his eagerness to shoot the beholder. Chu Shu smiled through gritted teeth. This must be someone else's slander against your believers. I am your believer. You should not listen to other people's slanders, great beholder. Believer? The beholder's huge one eye showed amusement. Then, its body shook slightly. A small piece of skin fragment fell from the surface of the body. The fragment broke the moment it fell, revealing a dimension with endless creatures. Quagos and Chu Shu both saw it clearly. The creatures in this dimension all knelt on the ground and murmured. Among the countless creatures that form a strange circle, beholder statues stand tall one after another. Every creature looked up with enthusiasm. Like this believer dimension. I have tons of them. Chu Shu twitched the corner of her mouth. What's up with this little pride? But Lord Beholder, can your many followers bring you this? As he spoke, Chu Shu took out something round and round. The ball of light collected from Emperor Weishan. The rare treasures have not touched me. The beholder was impatient. As a dimension lord, what good things has she not seen? But the next moment, Chu Shu patted the light ball, and the energy belonging to Emperor Weishan emitted from it. Buzz. The intense white beam instantly filled the entire space. Fight against beholders across dimensions. At this moment, even the beholder was startled, and immediately showed greed. Carefully feel the energy fluctuations. The beholder confirmed. This is something that belongs to Emperor Weishan. How did you get it? Chu Shu smiled mysteriously. Just take the bait. You know, I have my own abilities, and I have angered many Mephistos from different dimensions. And I don't care about any of this. I bear these infamy just to gain the power of Emperor Weishan. And give it to you, the great beholder. The scene fell into silence. Only the energy of Emperor Weishan is slowly spreading. The beholder seemed to be persuaded. Its huge one eye glanced between Weishan Emperor's ball of light, Quagos, and Chu Shu. In the sky, the long river of time and space continues to flow, unable to reflect Chu Shu's past. Sudden. The beholder's spiritual power suddenly exploded, and he was about to peek into Chu Shu's true thoughts. But the next moment, the pure and holy soul burst out, making it feel Chu Shu's sincerity. Someone who can have such a pure and flawless soul. Could he be a bad guy? Is it possible? Can? Finally, Mephisto's eyes softened. What do you want? My disciple. On the road. At this moment, Quagos seemed to see his former self in the beholder's big, stupid eyes. Once. He was shackled under the ocean dimension, and was defrauded of all his family property by Chu Shu step by step. Thinking of this, tears fell from the corners of Quagos's eyes. Chu Shu smiled. 3%. You want 30% of my energy? The beholder fell into silence, staring coldly at the human in front of him. Quarks was also shocked. What does 3,740% of energy mean? As one of the multidimensional beings, the beholder has hundreds of dimensions at his disposal. And the self that is just created casually only accounts for 1,000th of it. 30% of the energy. Such a huge amount. How could it be given away so easily? Boss, you lion has opened your mouth. Quagos prompted with his eyes. 30% energy is not impossible, but you can't afford it. Looking at Chu Shu's small body, the beholder seemed a little regretful. Quagos was dumbfounded. This eye demon is a second stroke, right? Are you still sorry? What a shame. Brother Chu is right. Those big eyes of yours are just for venting your anger. Quagos stopped hiding. It's jealous. Everyone is of the tentacle system. Why don't you help insiders and outsiders? Shivering. When can Dimension Mephisto stand up? However, the smiling Chu Shu didn't care about Quagos's thoughts. He couldn't wait to open his hands. Come on. Don't pity me. It's only 30% of the energy, so it's no problem to sprinkle it with water. Are you sure? The beholder asked concernedly. I firmly believe that my faith allows me to accommodate your glory. His faith is so strong. I cried to death. Seeing this, the beholder no longer hesitations. Huge energy pours out from hundreds of broken dimensions. Pour it into Chu Shu's body, with the transmission of beholder energy. Several dimensions, due to energy imbalance, peeled off from the surface of the beholder's body and fell to the ground. How much is the beholder's 30% energy? Previously, no one in the entire multidimensional universe knew the answer. Until today. Chu Shu was the first to feel it. If the annihilation energy of Quagos's daily protection fee is water droplets, then at the moment, 30% of the energy traded by the beholder is as boundless as the ocean. This energy enters Chu Shu's body. He even suppressed all the energy he had absorbed from his body into a small corner. This moment, the strength of the body begins to become transparent due to the washing of energy. Chu Shu, who is full of energy, has an illusion. He can blow up an entire dimension with one punch. At the same time, Chu Shu also noticed. This energy is not free. In energy, there are countless wills that can confuse people's hearts. This is the beholder's backup plan. Chaos energy is introduced into Chu Shu's body, accompanied by the use of energy. In the future, Chu Shu will step by step fall into the crazy worship of the beholder. Other believers who end up becoming beholders are no different. But who is Chu Shu? The guy who borrows money but never returns it. As the beholder's energy transmission is interrupted within Chu Shu's body, the system's beep sounded again as usual. Ding. Abnormal energy detected. The exorcism system is purifying you. Done. I got the energy. The corners of Chu Shu's mouth raised. I didn't expect you to be able to withstand 30% of my energy. The beholder glanced at Chu Shu one more time. Then, the attention of that huge one-eyed eye opened on Shu's body. Go to the ball of light of Emperor Weishan. His magic weapon will fall into my hands one day. Follow the beholder's will. Emperor Weishan's ball of light broke away from Chu Shu's hand, rose slowly, and flew towards the direction of the beholder. But the next moment, a big hand suddenly grabbed the ball of light and pressed it down. What? What do you mean? Seeing that the treasure was about to fall into his hands, Chu Shu stopped him halfway. The beholder felt a hint of anger again in surprise. The huge one-eyed eye stared closely at Chu Shu. What do you mean? I suddenly don't want to give it anymore. Chu Shu smiled slightly, but it is so hateful in the eyes of the beholder. Human. Do you know that you are playing with fire? Do you still have my energy in your body? I can send energy at any time. Wait. My energies, what did you do to them? The beholder's one eye widened, because he couldn't sense his own energy in Chu Shu's body. What's your energy? Once it's in my body, it's mine. Don't slander me. Chu Shu spread her hands and said, but yes, I have never seen you so stupid. Everyone else pays money with one hand and energy with the other, but you, a fool, gave me energy in advance. No, you are the second fool, the first one is Quagos. Aside, Quagos, who was shot while lying down, was speechless and slowly floated to Chu Shu's side. I said, boss, can you please don't take me with you when you hurt others? I also want to save face. Face is earned by oneself, not given by me. Go. Give him a big coin pocket. I've been putting up with this big eyeball for a long time. Chu Shu pointed at the beholder in front of him. Next moment, Chu Shu didn't wait for the beholder to react. The light ball of Emperor Weishan in his hand has begun to emit a dazzling white light. The cannon is firing. Sha Taliong is good, over Chu Shu. The white magic energy that occupied half of the void space early suddenly revealed their majesty. One after another, dazzling white beams of light appeared like swords in the sky. Attack in the direction of the beholder, driven intentionally by Chu Shu. That endless beam of light. Focus on the beholder's big eyeballs. If you don't use your corneas, you can donate them to useful people. Each beam has the power to penetrate dimensions. Densely packed. Penetrating the entire void from top to bottom. Countless dimensions where the beholder used scales as a foothold were broken because of this. The beholder's body was slightly injured as a result. Damn human being. How dare you deceive me? I will make you live forever. no life. As the beholder shouted, two huge tentacles covering several dimensions gathered together and headed straight for Chushu's position. At the moment it's too late to dodge. The beholder's tentacles are too fast. Text. It's like two slices of higher dimensions rushing towards you. Boss. Think of a way. I don't want to die yet. Quarks was frightened. He originally thought he had the ability to fight the beholder. But now look past it. What a world of difference. This scene is just like when it rebelled thousands of years ago and was easily suppressed by a duplication of the beholder. To the beholder, I am like a newborn Kayla. Don't rush, don't rush. Chushu expressed calmness. Gently wipe the ring of Hades in your hand. The next moment, Sithorn's dark energy began to explode, covering the entire dimension in an instant. Energy rolling. Strange noises began to occur between heaven and earth. Light from above. Darkness below. The two energies did not repel each other in Chushu's hands, but instead slowly integrated. Immediately afterwards, a pair of black gold breastplate with white flowing light appeared. The moment the beholder tentacles touched the armor, make a muffled sound. A moment of collision. Several dimensions and universes carrying endless life dissipated into nothingness under the impact. Breastplate Ren Jueling Lingling. But the matter is not over yet. If the beholder with chaos force only has these moves, then it cannot become one of the multidimensional beings. Next moment, on top of the beholder's tentacles, several dimensional spaces began to integrate, as if they were mixed into countless fixed stars. Boom. A shocking explosion sounded. Just the aftermath of the explosion. This caused all the major dimensions that were originally suspended in the void to collapse one after another. The explosion tears apart the protection of the dimension. The endless planet appears in the void. Then, the destructive energy and endless shockwave washed away planets one after another. Like washing sugar balls, layer after layer, these planets are dissolved and destroyed from the surface. In the end, only the cores of the planets are left slowly flowing. The space was silent in front of the violent chaos force. However, the beholder who struck this blow was not happy. Because of the deceiver's breath, still remain. When the chaos force slowly dissipated, what was revealed was Chushu and Quagos who were unharmed in the chest armor. That's it. I thought how hard you worked. My grandma cleaned up better than you. Chushu looked around and joked. Gifts reciprocate. You gave me a big gift. I can't help but return it. Subsequently, Chushu's hand wearing the ring of Hades turned slightly. The next moment, with Chushu as the center, dark energy began to take off like a tornado. The surrounding energy frenzy continued to expand its scope, spanning 7 or 8 galaxies in just a moment. Then, dark energy began to gather and shrink. Draw extremely dark energy threads and outline a skeleton composed of dark energy. Bones materialize. Then flesh and form. In an instant, a half-human, half-demon image quickly appeared, huge and boundless. A flaming sword spanned several galaxies. The flames on the sword were brighter than the rays of 10,000 suns. Because that is the flame of Waishan Emperor. Now, if the beholder is lucky enough to have played Glory of the Premier League, then it can recognize it at a glance. The image created by Chushu using the power of Sithorn and Emperor Waishan is none other than the character model of the King of Hell in the game. Only slightly enlarged by 100 million points. This is the King of Hell, a hero with 99,999 horsepower, 999 armor, and 999 magic resistance. There's shield, there's displacement, there's invincibility, there's control, there's object damage, magic damage, and real damage. In the end, it's W. I'll die. Before the beholder could figure out what Chushu meant. Chushu is like playing a game. The King of Hell, who controlled the energy transformation, launched an attack on the beholder. In an instant, all kinds of single target, group, control, and messy skills were thrown at the beholder for free, just like opening a CD-less plugin. Every seemingly simple and unpretentious move, including the flame saber, hitting the A again and again when slashing. In fact, they are all composed of massive white magic and black magic. Its power can destroy a single dimension instantly. Don't hide. Beholder. Ha 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 ha. I'm telling you, I could go on like this all day. Chushu laughed loudly. This kind of wasteful use of other people's energy is so exciting. Just to create the model of this King of Hell, Chushu consumed countless black and white magic. The total consumption adds up. It's worse than being able to create dozens of level single universe strong men out of thin air. And with such huge energy, Chushu only uses it to activate special effects. Are you crazy? Is this how energy is used? The beholder was also dumbfounded. Both are Mephistos from the top dimension, but in terms of strength, the beholder is not as good as Waishan Emperor and Sithorn. If ranked, the beholder is probably the T1 level in the dimension Mephisto. As for Emperor Waishan and Sithorn, there is no doubt that they are to level. So what puzzles the beholder is that even if Chushu, a human being, got the token of Emperor Waishan by luck, why did you also get the ring of Sithorn, the god of cars? What's even more outrageous is, even if you get the token, why can you still use their power? Will Emperor Waishan and Sithorn just ignore it? Let this human being waste his power like a nouveau riche? Human. That's enough. The beholder was just about to stop him. Then he saw a dazzling light beam that was comparable to the strike of Emperor Waishan coming towards him. That's right, it's a beam of light, not magic. Chushu didn't even bother to cast a spell, he just smashed the pure original magic over like a brick. Eat a lot and be full. It is equivalent to others spending money to buy props and weapons, and then attack. And Chushu just threw tons of money at people. The Hell King model, which is boundless in size and about the same file size as the beholder's body, has become Chushu's greatest help in squandering energy. Massive white magic is like free money. It emerged from the flaming sword of the King of Hell, and turned into swordlight, slashing away the beholder. These primitive energies forcibly absorbed from the supreme dimension were released and attacked in the most superficial way. All kinds of extremely exaggerated white magic illuminated the entire void. Chushu follows a principle in every attack: the damage can be low, but the special effects must be full. They must be given enough. They must be given enough. In just a short moment, the light of Patella I shines on the countless dimensions under the rule of I. The aftermath is shocking. Brilliant heavenly power. Even Quagos, who left his side early, was not spared. The white magic, which was so rich that it seemed like substance, drowned it before Quagos could react. The next moment it was startled. Boss Chushu, you were mistaken. This is magic to heal the enemy. At the same time, in the supreme dimension, the Trinity Waishan Emperor looked at each other speechlessly. The three of them looked at several huge amounts of whirlpools in the dimension in silence. The source of their original magic that they have accumulated all their lives is constantly being swallowed by the whirlpool. In a blink of an eye, a full galaxy's worth of magical energy disappeared. Although this consumption is nothing compared to the total amount of the supreme dimension. No matter how big the family fortune is, it can't support such a prodigal. Well, the almighty goddess Ohit sighed. The ancient supreme Agamotto and the old ancient god Haggis looked at each other. They all saw the pain in each other's eyes. Right. It's not that my heart aches anymore, it's that my body aches from the inside out. Such a crude way of using magic, it's really. Ohit began to doubt whether it was the right decision to hand over the use of power to Chushu. Because the outrageous thing is, who has ever seen people using healing spells on their enemies during a fight? You can make your moves look cool and have good steel flowers on the handle of the knife. These are no problem and you can tolerate them. After all, whether it is powerful or not depends entirely on the special effects. Special effects are more expensive. I can understand that too. But who will give buffs to the enemy in battle? So, who do you think taught him? Ohit finished. A bald head appeared in Agamotto and Hog's minds at the same time. Who? Who is slandering me? On Earth, Ancient One suddenly sneezed. The other side. The Beholder's Chaos Realm has almost become a sea of special effects. A large amount of white magic is rampant in this high-dimensional realm. The Beholder, who was originally the master of this area. At this moment, he was hiding in confusion. While Chushu controlled the model of the Hell King to chase him, he continued to extract the black and white magic of the Supreme Dimension and the Flashing Dimension, performing various exaggerated energy attacks. No fine control is required at all. This multi-level power is enough to destroy a dimension or even a universe just by throwing it out. Within the hundreds of dimensions ruled by beholders. Up to Dimension Mephisto, get off the ordinary life of Dimension 1. At this moment, everyone is shocked to see the changes in the dimensions, the fragmentation of space, the turbulence of time and space, and all kinds of terrible things appearing in these dimensions one after another, and this is just the aftermath of the battle. Because the dimension that was actually affected has already been completely destroyed. Enough. Are you humiliating me? The beholder finally couldn't stand it anymore. In particular, it also received 14 treatments, 6 purifications, and 27 magic buffs from Chu Shu in the process. This kind of behavior is chasing you and beating you while treating you. In the eyes of the beholder, it is undoubtedly a great humiliation. But the problem is, there is nothing the beholder can do against Chu Shu. It's obvious that the opponent is just a single-level scumbag, but the beholder can crush Chu Shu like an insect. But the problem is that this 5th Zon seems to be cheating. 1 second without interruption. Just like unlimited firepower, it continuously releases multi-level attacks. Even the power of these attacks is more powerful than the full blow of the beholder itself. Even the beholder can't hide, not to mention preventing Chu Shu from counterattacking. Quagos. There is really no way. The beholder could only yell at Quagos. Interrupt it. I will forgive your betrayal, Quagos, as long as you attack this human. The beholder ordered. Ah? I didn't hear you wrong, did I, Shumagorath? How about you say it again? Quagos touched the non-existent ear with his tentacles and said lazily. Hee. Is there still a time when your demonic beholder is begging for me? Dream on you. Quagos. At this moment, Chu Shu's voice came. Quagos, who was originally prepared to hear a kind word from the beholder, immediately came closer to him. Boss. You have something to give me. Do you want me to give that old boy a try? Quagos looked fawning. It's a completely different attitude than when I was dealing with the beholder just now. I have a favor and I really want you to go. Chu Shu issued a custody order to the King of Hell, allowing it to continue its attack. He turned to Quagos and said, someone said it nice, but actually limited my energy flow. Go and give it a slap. Who is so brave? How dare you fool me, boss Chu Shu? Bell Quagos to. The flickering dimension, before his god Sithorn. No. Boss. Wait a minute, within the flickering dimension. Sithorn and Quagos, who had been expelled, looked at each other and fell into silence. It was as if time had stood still for the two of them. I understand. I won't restrict his flow anymore, you can go back. After a long time, Sithorn said helplessly. Although he said it nicely, he promised Chu Shu that he could use his power without restriction. But in actual operation, Sithorn is obviously not as generous as Emperor Weishan. Although Emperor Weishan was also distressed by Chu Shu's wasteful behavior. But it hurts. The energy transmission never stopped for a moment. Sithorn, on the other hand, was very cunning, thinking that Chu Shu didn't notice, and Qing Mimi limited the energy flow. Until Quagos was kicked by Chu Shu and came to investigate. Conveyed the original words of Chu Shu. Sithorn, UBYD, are you related to that certain network disk? Do I still need labor and management to open a super membership for you? Hurry up. Leave the current limit to labor and management. Sithorn, who was scolded a lot, finally held back his anger. Reluctantly, the current limit was cancelled. For a moment. Huge amounts of energy vortices also appear within Sithorn's flickering dimension. Just like a giant whale swallowing water, it quickly swallowed up the energy area that Sithorn had accumulated over the years. A massive amount of black magic was sucked into the vortex. Eventually he was transferred to the battlefield between Chu Shu and Quagos. Okay, there is no limit on traffic anymore, you can go. Sithorn held back his expression of pain and ordered Quagos to be kicked out. But Quagos hesitated and did not leave immediately. Then what? My boss, he still has something he wants me to do. Quagos said hesitantly. Explain. Sithorn was a little impatient. All the money in vain is given to the poor, no, all the energy in vain is wasted. Not satisfied with this. Well, my boss said. Let me give you a big ass bag? Quagos's eyes were filled with 3 parts fear, 3 parts caution, 3 parts temptation, and 1 part eagerness to try. That's right, another perfect fan chart. Sithorn was silent. After a while, Quagos returned to the beholder's realm of chaos. No one knows what it just experienced in the flickering dimension. Chu Shu doesn't care either. All he cares about now is the steady flow of black magic. Well done. Quagos. This stupid Sithorn finally knows how to help. Chu Shu finished speaking. He looked at the beholder with a kind smile on his face. The beholder was completely confused. The power of a Weishan emperor is enough to suppress it, making it unable to fight back. Now add Sithorn. No? What is your background, human? Why did the power of these 2 people fall into the hands of the same person? And is this how you use TMD power? Boom. A pillar of dark light that penetrates the chaos realm bursts out from the ring of Hades in Chushu's hand. There is no spellcasting or technique, just like Chushu just used Wei Shandi's white magic. It's like smashing the extremely pure energy out like bricks. The disadvantage of doing this is that there is a little waste of hundreds of millions. But the advantage is, the power of bricks is indeed not low. Ah! The huge entity of the beholder was pushed back by this brick. The beholder who was attacked was not only angry, but more distressed. Just like others throwing money at you, what you were thinking about is whether I can pick up the money on the ground after throwing it and count it as mine? This is what the beholder is thinking at the moment. Feeling the extremely pure dark magic, the beholder was salivating. It is multi-dimensional. Nominally the master of hundreds or thousands of dimensions. And the purpose of occupying so many dimensions is not to gain more energy and become more powerful. But the energy wasted by Chushu in this small session is already equivalent to the total energy provided by dozens of dimensions to the beholder. Enough. Stop wasting it like this. The beholder finally had enough. As an enemy, Chushu's wasteful behavior cannot even be tolerated by it. Human, stop wasting your natural resources like this. That's not how the energy is used at all. The beholder is salivating. If it weren't for the top dimension, Mephisto's frame would have to be lifted. It probably just lay down on the ground and picked up the energy thrown by Chushu. Is this embarrassing? There is indeed a point. So the beholder put it another way. Well, give me these stars. I will let Quagos go and forgive you for all your previous offenses. Chushu was silent. This was the first time he had seen such a shameless person. Oh no, he had such shameless big eyes, almost as good as his own. What I'm saying is, next time you say something harsh, can you please stop running around like a rat? Although Chushu stopped attacking. But the Hell King model, which was composed of two multi-level energies, still pursued the beholder and used its skills as crazily as if it had no CD. A dignified beholder. Just like that, the head-hugging rat was being chased by a virtual character made of energy. In the various dimensions it rules, it hides in Tibet. Human, don't worry about me. Otherwise I will destroy the universe you live in and every life you cherish. The beholder throws out harsh words version 2.0. But Chushu remained unmoved. It's up to you, there are plenty of multi-universes anyway. If you can, destroy the entire Marvel multi-universe, otherwise I won't be able to sleep anywhere? Chushu opened his palms. This feeling of squandering other people's power is really intoxicating. Especially these two forces are far more powerful than your own strength. Under normal conditions, Chushu is only at the single level. Now he controls two powers that are considered top-notch at the multi-level level. Not an exaggeration, it's like an ant driving the original Gundam. Plus a danger wanderer. Because what Chushu controls is not a force. It's a pity that Seth took a narrow path and didn't lend me his energy. Chushu sighed. If the snake god Seth was not expelled to the world of Cthulhu by himself. Instead, like Sithorn and Emperor Wyshan, he lent himself the devouring power of the snake god. So what would it feel like to combine these three powers into one? It's all your fault. Chushu took out her grievances on the beholder. The beholder has not yet recovered from the humiliation of being hunted down by a single-level human. Turning around, he saw Chushu using the power of Emperor Wyshan and Sithorn to create another giant thing in the sky. Just like the previous King of Hell, who could be called the Dharma of heaven and earth. This time Chushu fabricated a game character. And the kind with skin. Get to know the exclusive reward skin for the King tier, Batman. The Laughing Bat limited skin. The corners of Chushu's mouth raised. Just when he was about to fabricate all his favorite characters and give the beholder a small group fight to shock him. A voice. An intolerable voice. Finally appeared in this chaos realm that was on the verge of collapse. Enough. The Trinity Wyshan Emperor and the god of the underworld, Sithorn, arrived at the same time. I'm begging you, please stop fighting. I really can't handle this old age at home. Leave some pension for us. What are you doing here? I haven't had any fun yet. Chushu was a little unhappy. Isn't it just using a little bit of your strength? As for making such a fuss, did you go out of your way to come to the door? Wyshan Emperor, Sithorn. Brother, did you use a little bit? No matter how big your family fortune is, it can't support you being such a prodigal. Sithorn turned around, looking at the Laughing Bat, which is almost entirely made of black magic. The whole person fell into silence. Such a large summoned object is not magic. Instead, it is made up of pure original black magic. The density of the energy has been stacked like substance. If you just pick off a small piece, you can create a strong man out of thin air. Chu Shu, please discuss anything with us in the future. Isn't he just a beholder? We will help you fight. Emperor Weishan and Sithorn expressed this idea almost at the same time. For the first time, the god of white magic and the god of black magic reached a consensus. That is, I would rather contribute and end up personally than leave my bank card to Chu Shu for safekeeping. No joke. This kid is really a prodigal. Hey, what do I need from you? Isn't it just a beholder, even if I don't borrow your power? I randomly summoned a few evil gods to deal with them. Chu Shu waved his hand. Yes, he made dumplings just for this bit of vinegar. If he hadn't wanted to experience the feeling of being a nouveau riche, Chu Shu wouldn't have bothered to fight the beholder, and would have just borrowed a few Da Luo Jinxian from the prehistoric times. That's enough to deal with one beholder, right? The Trinity Weishan Emperor was silent. Among them, the goddess Ohit had an expression that she had expected. I knew this kid did it on purpose. Brush. The goddess Ohit waved her hand. Chu Shu's fabricated King of Hell model disappeared instantly. Ouch. What are you doing? I haven't finished the fight yet. After Chu Shu finished speaking, he turned to look at Sithorn and gave him a fierce look. I can tolerate it if the goddess is beautiful. If you King dare to take away my Batman, I'll fight you to the death. The majestic demonic shadow was threatened repeatedly by Chu Shu. Sithorn finally had enough. Then, he pointed his finger at the beholder beside him. Emperor Weishan, what do you say? Let's kill this sky eyeball together. I think so too, the Trinity Weishan Emperor said in unison. At this moment, light and darkness reached a consensus, and everything happened. Just leave it to you, the beholder. The beholder's big eyes revealed an emotion that was difficult to express in words. This moment. Its memory goes back a long, long time. Mephisto, the first dimension born at the beginning of chaos. The beholder is thinking that it would have been better if he had not devoured the brothers and sisters who were born together. Because then you won't become a powerful top-dimensional Mephisto. If you don't become a top Mephisto, you won't be able to rule so many dimensions. It won't be impossible to rule because there are too many dimensions. Finally, life is created. If he didn't create life or Quagos, he would naturally not have the subsequent rebellion of Quagos sealed by him. Quagos is not sealed. There would be no chance that it would be unsealed by humans and come to the door on its own. In the end, the current scene will not happen. It comes down to it. All the emotions come together in one sentence. Everyone, can't I tell you now? The answer is yes. Emperor Weishan and Sithorn, who were full of anger, obviously did not intend to let go of this ready-made package to vent their anger. Oh, this is boring. Chu Shu took a step back calmly. The next second, colorful white magic and weird black magic exploded in front of your eyes. Various high-standard forbidden magic techniques combined with multi-level infinite power. In front of Chu Shu's eyes, the flowers blended into a colorful painting. At this moment, in the Marvel Infinite Parallel Universe, all Kamar Taj magicians who were casting or preparing to cast spells and black magicians who believed in Sithorn lost their power at the same time. 19,999. Strange is worried about Wanda's adoption of 2 children from a parallel universe. I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse at the same time. Sudden. The white magic he had practiced for many years in Kamar Taj was gone. Including some of the black magic he obtained from the Dark God book also disappeared. Shouldn't I wait until I die before taking back my power? How come Emperor Weishan doesn't mean what he says? The same doubt also appears in the hearts of all magicians in the infinite multi-universe. And soon they received a response. Business is on hold. I'll have a fight first, and after that, the business will continue. The news of Emperor Weishan was delivered to the multi-universe. In the realm of chaos, the Eye finally gets the hammer it wants. Before, it thought that Chu Shu Kong had power, but he didn't know how to use it and only knew how to waste it. It's good now. Here comes the man who does not waste. As masters of white magic and black magic, Emperor Weishan and Sithorn's use of their own power can be said to have reached an artistic level. Every bit of strength was used properly to hit the beholder. Nothing is wasted. It can even be said that 1 penny is converted into 3 cents. Emperor Weishan and Sithorn used only a small amount of energy to beat the beholder half to death. In the midst of a busy schedule, the beholder noticed Chu Shu watching the show in the distance. It was only then that it missed Chu Shu's inhumane fighting style. If I had known, I might as well have beaten you up. The beholder wants to cry but has no tears. Chu Shu's attack method of blasting mosquitoes with cannons can still be avoided. Although it's a bit embarrassing, at least there won't be any big problems. But now it's Emperor Weishan and Sithorn. Let alone hiding, the beholders will tear apart the dimension and travel to other worlds. They will be caught and beaten. And it's different from Chu Shu, who is gentle-handed. It really hurts when these two hit someone. You miss me now? Why did you go there earlier? Chu Shu was eating melon seeds on the side. The beholder's tragic situation made the quaggas around Chu Shu frightened. Boss, how about you use the power of the morning star to change my appearance? I'm afraid they'll turn around and beat me up as a beholder. Looking at the beholder, who was beaten into an iron squid with oily eyes, Quagos said fearfully, "Why do I always have tears in my eyes?" Chu Shu, because your big eyes are so conspicuous. This battle between two Mephistas and one T1 Mephista quickly came to an end. Calling it a battle is actually not accurate, because it was more like a one-sided beating. And in this fat beating, the beholder's big eyes bear almost 90% of the firepower in this battle. Sithorn's attacks are all focused on the beholder's eyes. But Emperor Weishan is kinder. They directly cut off the beholder's foundation from the ground up. Forcibly disconnect the dimensions ruled by the beholder. Disables the beholder from drawing power from these dimensions. No. Emperor Weishan's kind act. Completely defeating Shuma Gorath's inner defense. The family business that I worked so hard for half a lifetime returned to before liberation. And it's the kind that will never be recovered. It's over. Phew, it feels so good. Yeah. This way I feel much more balanced. After finishing one set, Emperor Weishan adjusted his posture. The Trinity has returned to its enigmatic and aloof appearance. Sithorn looked at the three of them with disdain. Pack. You three are the best at pretending. Sithorn makes no secret of the fact that he uses the beholder as a punching bag. Even after the fight, he comforted him thoughtfully. I'm sorry. If you want to blame, just blame your bad luck. Who told you to make that guy angry and waste so many of our emperors? Sithorn added at the end. Looking at your look, you seem a little unconvinced. In this way, if you are not convinced, I can beat you again. No, I just have eye pain. The beholder wants to cry but has no tears. It was an infinite body that was so huge that it encompassed multiple dimensions. Now it has shrunk to just over 10,000 meters. Huddled up like a little shrimp. So you can shrink, so who did you scare when you became so big just now? It's a shame that I wasted so much energy and made a model that's about the same size as you. Chu Shu stood on the boundless palm of the laughing bat. Expressed dissatisfaction with the behavior of the beholder. At the same time, he also put the blame for wasting energy on the beholder. See Chu Shu, which pot is not opened and lifted. The moods that Emperor Weishan and Sithorn had just soothed had some fluctuations again. No, I know I was wrong, it's all my fault, it's all my fault. A beholder who senses something is wrong. He directly waved his tentacles, which were more than 10,000 meters long, and slapped himself twice. This extremely smooth movement of begging for mercy made Chu Shu think of something. He turned and glanced at Quagos. Boss, what should I say? Maybe there is some truth to genetics. Quagos took a step back in embarrassment. At the same time, he glanced at the beholder with disgust. The dog father is incompetent. It's really embarrassing for Dimension Mephista tentacle type big eyeball type. Okay, the trouble has been solved, we have to go back. Here, Emperor Weishan was out of breath and ready to leave. As the source of white magic in the Marvel worldview, Emperor Weishan, like Sithorn, the source of black magic, cannot leave their dimensions for a long time. Because they are equivalent to the magic bank in the Marvel worldview. They don't go to work. The impact has been shocking and diverse. At that time, maybe even the Life Tribunal will come to inspect and ask why you missed work. But leaving is leaving. Emperor Weishan didn't forget to tell you something. Chu Shu, if you encounter this kind of thing in the future, you must not be impulsive. Don't risk your life to fight them. It's not necessary, you know. What if I hurt myself? The ancient Supreme Agamotto looked like he was thinking about you. But anyone with eyesight knew what he was worried about. If you encounter any trouble in the future, just tell us. No matter who the enemy is, as long as you say a word, the three of us will come over to help you. Yes, I do too. Sithorn also joined in the conversation. Now it seems that I would rather make a few more trips and come and have a fight in person. It's better than wasting your strength on this prodigal. That's so embarrassing. Chu Shu grinned and said half jokingly, actually, it doesn't have to be so troublesome. You just need to give me your power, no need to run around, I blame your mentality. Deathly silence. Then there was a sudden awkward laugh. Haha, it's okay. Anyway, we stay in the dimension all day long. It's good for our health to go out for a walk occasionally. Yeah. What about that? Are you in a hurry to get back? Well, it's urgent. It must be urgent. There's still a furnace burning on my stove. Emperor Weishan and Sithorn were fighting haha. Then, the four people teleported back to this latitude with lightning speed. Only Chu Shu, Quagos, and the bruised beholders were left. Made, 4 misers. Chu Shu cursed secretly. He originally thought that he was so ruined. Emperor Weishan and Sithorn also need to come up with something to show their appreciation. Who knew these 2 magical gods were worthless? He would rather lower his status and become a thug. I don't want to pay a penny. Well, Chu Shu sighed and his eyes fell on the beholder. 4 eyes, no, 3 eyes were paired, and the beholder felt waves of chills welling up in his heart. Yes. Yes. I'm sorry, I admit that I spoke too loudly just now. The beholder's voice stammered. He has completely lost his aura as a top-dimensional Mephisto. Even its strength has become extremely weak as Emperor Weishan deprived it of the dimensions it ruled. It can be said that it is not even as strong as the 30% energy it gave Chu Shu before. Then what? Look at me like this, can you give me back the 3-layer energy you just cheated on me? Even a part of it will do. The beholder said cautiously. The aggrieved tone was like being out of town, being defrauded of all your money, and then begging the scammer to give you 10 yuan to take the bus home. Snapped. What the hell are you thinking? But Chu Shu is obviously not the kind of person who would leave 10 yuan for travel expenses. Facing the beholder's request, he slapped the big-eyed man from the air. Since my debut, I have handled so much business. It's just that I don't have any money back. Chu Shu just finished speaking. Quagos on the side suddenly came over in confusion. Boss, when I was seriously injured on the moon, you transferred part of the annihilation energy to me. Is this considered as money back? It doesn't count. Because it's a loan shark. The energy in the tentacle dimension is 91%. I'm 90% and you're 1%. But boss, didn't you say 82 points before? Haven't you heard of compound interest? If you keep blabbering, we're going to change from a 10-point system to a 100-point system. Snapped. Quagos slapped himself with his tentacle. Slutty mouth. I shouldn't have mentioned this. Real. Quagos episode aside. Chu Shu's kind eyes fell on the beholder again. Godzilla. Well, my name is Shuma Gorath, not Godzilla. Chu Shu's eyes turned cold. Shumagoras immediately changed his mind. No, I remembered it wrong, my name is Godzilla. It can only be said that the beholder is worthy of being the creator of Quagos. At least in terms of character. It can be said that the two of them are of the same blood, because the father has no tiger and the son belongs to them. Shaole. Actually there is no irreconcilable conflict between us, right? Yeah. As soon as he heard that Chu Shu meant to ease things up, the beholder immediately agreed. It's all my fault. Mainly I didn't know Quagos was already your subordinate. Etc. Before the beholder could finish speaking, Giggs suddenly came out. Correction. I'm not the boss's subordinate, I'm just the boss's loyal dog. The loyal dog Hachiko then retreated after speaking. That flattering look made Chu Shu wonder what it had learned during this period. The beholder also has some doubts about life. Is this really a creation I created in my own image? How could it be so unbearable? Still a loyal dog. That's nice to say. Aren't they just used as dogs for humans? Actually, if you were willing to let me go, this dog. I can't be a dog. Definitely. This was just a thought that flashed through the mind of the beholder. It struggled internally for a moment, but in the end, it still didn't say the words. Compared to Quagos, who completely recognized the reality and chose to surrender to Chu Shu. After all, the beholder still couldn't get over the hurdle in his heart. Even though it wants to beg for mercy. But begging for mercy by treating a human as a dog seemed to it to be a bit much. Quagos had no idea what the beholder was thinking. If it knew the inner thoughts of the beholder, it would definitely curse, "Father of dogs, you are so confused. Don't be tough to the end. Don't accept it softly or completely. Now the fight is lost. You are already at the stage of apologizing and begging for mercy, But you still want to retain a little bit of Mephisto's dignity? Aren't you on a narrow path? Really? Chushu spoke. Godzilla, I really want to let you go, but I can't help it. We were in too much trouble before. If you don't bring something out, I'm afraid this matter won't end well. Hearing these familiar words, Quagos felt a cold sweat in his heart for the beholder. Good guy. This is about squeezing out the last bit of value before taking action. But the beholder obviously didn't know this, and it thought Chushu had given him a step down. It's easy to talk about things, as long as you are willing to let me go. I will give you all hundreds of dimensions, including the tentacle dimension. The power of these dimensions alone is enough to make you one of the top dimensional Mephistos. The beholder promised Chushu a reward, but he only got a look of fool from Chushu. How generous are you to give me hundreds of latitudes? Chushu sneered. I would like to ask, where are your dimensions now? The beholder was silent. The Trinity Wyshan Emperor directly severed its connection with those dimensions. It is equivalent to erasing its name from the housebook. These dimensions are now either ownerless or have been inherited by the beholder's former minions. Take the ocean dimension for example. Enga Busos is the apparent lord of the ocean. But the actual controller of the dimension is the beholder. Most of the energy in the ocean dimension was also captured by the beholders, leaving only a small part for Enga Busos. But now, if the ocean dimension had not experienced the previous mutation, if Embasis had not been killed by Ban Shu, now it will truly become the lord of the ocean dimension. Have 100% control of the ocean dimension, by the time. Whether Enga Busos will listen to the beholder and return the ocean dimension is another matter. Because the relationship between dimension Mephistos is based on strength. Only beholders are powerful. The relationship between master and servant is unbreakable. But based on the beholder's understanding of his subordinates, and its current incompetent strength. Not to mention asking these subordinates to hand over control of the dimension. If they don't start a fight, they are being polite to their former master. But despite this, the beholder still used these dimensions as bargaining chips in negotiations with Chushu. Because it really has no other choice, although Emperor Wyshan cut off my connection with these dimensions. But this is only temporary. My men are extremely loyal, really. As long as I come to them, they will definitely return the control of their respective dimensions to me. The beholder told Chushu a lie, trying to use this method to convince Chushu that its promise will definitely come true. But the problem is, you lied to me with a lie that you can't even lie to yourself. This is the biggest insult to the ability of my business. Chushu gave up. It seems that the beholder really can't squeeze out any oil or water. Okay, since it's worthless, then please say hello to Patriarch Hongjun for me and say hello. Chushu finished speaking. In the beholder's confused look and Quagos's gloating look. He took out a playing card and threw it on the beholder. Expel Shuma Gorath to. The prehistoric world, in front of demon ancestor Luaho. The words fell. A familiar white light came on. In an instant, the beholder was swallowed up and taken to another world. Wait a minute. I don't think I specified which prehistoric world it is. Shouldn't the system expel this guy to some low-end prehistoric world where nuclear explosions are carried out by saints, and let him dominate there? Chushu suddenly thought that there are also strong and weak people in the prehistoric world. In the past, he had always defaulted to the kind of Deluo Jinxian could jump out of the long river of time, become immortal, live forever with the Tao, and transform thousands of high-end prehistoric times into one. But there is still that kind of world in the prehistoric world. The world where the immortal can fly 100 feet, the Deluo Jinxian can open mountains and cut off rivers, and the saint's strike can be compared to a nuclear bomb. I don't know what kind of beholder it is. I hope it's the former, giving children a little more room for improvement. After Chushu finished speaking, he put the matter of the beholder behind. What do you think? When I wrote this ridiculous plot, I had a good time playing games at home. Why don't you come here to beat me up? Don't write it next time. Chushu muttered. The last kick sent Quagos flying away. Next time I'll love you to death. Don't delay me from getting points. Say it. Chushu checked the time. Well, the version update should be over. Go back and score points. Is this the so-called epic overhaul? Yes. Is this what they said about, the King of Hell will transform into the new boss in the game? Yes. Gone. Chushu crushed the newly bought mobile phone. The next second he restored the phone and read the update announcement carefully. According to the strong request of the majority of players, Chushu We have adjusted the positioning of the Hell King. Now, the Hell King will replace the Baron Lord and become the new boss in the game. When the game reaches 15 minutes, the Hell King will be refreshed in the Dragon Pit. As a new neutral boss, the Hell King will attack all units that come into view. Note: the King of Hell cannot be killed, he will only be temporarily repelled, and will be refreshed again after 5 minutes. Final summary. Adjusting the King of Hell to a neutral boss, this is so cool. Wait for me, I'm a little heavy when I go out. After Chu Shu finished speaking, he left the holy place in New York. After a few breaths, North American T News, the production company of Glory of the Premier League, completely disappeared from this world. What a rubbish company. You really think labor and management have to play your crappy game, right? After sent away the North American T News, Chu Shu is still upset. He found that no matter it was the Marvel world or the world before he traveled, these game companies were all the same. They didn't care about the players' demands at all. They were all crazy and thought that players had to play their games. But then again, there really aren't many games in the Marvel world. Sudden. Chu Shu thought of something. The next second, he tore through space and arrived at Avengers headquarters. Is Tony Stark here? The sudden appearance of Chu Shu shocked everyone who stayed in the Avengers Alliance headquarters. I saw it was Chu Shu. Hercules, who was preparing to cook, carefully put down the freshly roasted goat leg and replied. Stark hasn't been here for the past few days. I heard that he seems to be preparing something very important at home. Something important. Chu Shu felt warm in her heart when she heard Hercules' answer. It seems that Stark has not forgotten about making games for himself, and he still cares about it. Okay, then I'll go to his house and meet him. Chu Shu felt better. He stepped forward and took away the goat leg that Hercules had just roasted, and while eating, he tore open the space with his bare hands. Teleported to Stark's beachfront mansion in Los Angeles. By the way, my butterfly effect really changed the plot a lot. Looking at the intact beach villa in front of me, Chu Shu couldn't help but sigh. I vaguely remember that when I first traveled back in time, because the timeline was after the end of Iron Man 2 and before Iron Man 3 took place, Chu Shu was still regretting that this villa would be blown up by the villains of Iron Man 3 in the future. As a result, because of the butterfly effect, the entire plot of Iron Man 3 never happened. This luxurious seaside villa was naturally preserved. It is simply unreasonable not to write my name on the house book. Chu Shu murmured as he strolled into the villa. Hello Mr. Chu Shu. Mr. Stark is busy in the basement right now. Do you need me to help you remind him? As soon as they entered the villa, the voice of Jarvis rang. Definitely. The Jarvis here is just a backup. The real Jarvis has been uploaded to the internet by Tony after becoming a Super I. Although he did not take over the Earth's weapons like Ultron in the 838 universe and armed the Earth with steel armor. But Jarvis also regulates the world. Whenever a disaster occurs anywhere, Jarvis will be the first to discover it. The message is then relayed to the Avengers a few seconds later. No, Jarvis. I'll go down and find him myself. Chu Shu shook his head. I didn't expect that Tony Stark would go to such an extent to forget all sleep and food in order to make games for himself. Think of this. Chu Shu wasn't in a hurry anymore. I sneaked into the kitchen to find a bottle of wine and drank while eating. After 3 or 2 swallows, he swallowed Hercules' roasted goat leg, and finally burped. Walk comfortably to the basement. Okay, I didn't expect Hercules' cooking skills to be pretty good. Chu Shu walked into the basement. Tony, who had not received a report from Jarvis, had not noticed his arrival until now. The whole person turned his back to Chu Shu, muttering. It seemed like he was tinkering with something there. I don't believe it. They are all Iron Man. Why should I be said to be inferior to those from the 838 universe? Isn't it just a white armor that can change forms freely? What white can? Symbiote armor. TCH, no big deal, I can do the same with nanotechnology. At the moment, Tony looked haggard. Both eyes have thick black circles like those of giant pandas. He didn't realize it until Chu Shu came to him, and he was shocked. Oh my god, why are you walking without making any sound? Tony clutched his heart. Then I realized that Chu Shu's expression was not very friendly. What are you doing? Making armor. Chu Shu looked at the cylindrical machine in front of Tony. Some liquid-like metal was shapeshifting continuously, as if it were alive. How about it? Nano armor. What a genius idea. Do you think this suit of mine is comparable to that? White can. Symbiote armor that Morgan was talking about? Wani looked excited when he saw Chu Shu. Just like showing off a toy, show off the new armor in front of Chu Shu. The reason why he spent so much time studying the new armor was because the blow Morgan gave him was too great. Because the timeline of the 838 universe is relatively late. Tom Cruise's version of Iron Man has already developed many late-stage armors, including symbiote armor, which is the classic Whitekin armor. But then because of Ultron. After retiring, Tom sealed up most of his armor for his family. This is why the last time Chu Shu saw him, he was still wearing the long-retired Mark III armor. Brother, you know what? Morgan said I'm not as good as 838 Iron Man. She said that the Ultron I created was a murderer, but the body her father created in 838 was a mechanical servant to protect the people. She also said that the armor I made is not as good looking as the one made by her father. Woo-woo. What's even more outrageous is, she actually said that I'm not as handsome as her dad. With tears in his eyes, Tony Stark revealed the reason why he spent so much time researching new armor. Chu Shu nodded after listening. First of all, you really don't look like Tom Cruise. Secondly, where is the game I want? Game. Tony Stark was stunned. Then, a hint of panic appeared on his haggard face. The game is being done, it's being done. Tony Stark took a step back. He stumbled into the laboratory table and almost knocked over the metal jar, causing the liquid nano armor to flow out. No. Didn't you agree to release a demo next month? Tony turned around and held the metal can, and asked in a panic. Yes, I gave you a month. But the thing is, it's month 2 now. Chu Shu had a straight face, seeing Tony's flustered look. 9 times out of 10 the holographic game he is commissioned to create is still a new folder. Hey, good brother, actually I can understand you too. A busy person like you usually doesn't have enough time, I understand you. Chu Shu patted Tony's shoulder understandingly. Then he said, but it doesn't matter, I can think of a way for you. I can transport you to a dimension without the concept of time. Hundreds or thousands of years have passed inside, and less than a second has passed outside. You can slowly study it alone inside. After Chu Shu finished speaking, Tony's face turned green. A place with no concept of time, staying there for hundreds or thousands of years? If this is not crazy, who is crazy? No, I really did the game. It's really not a new folder, really, I'm not going to lie to you. In order not to be sent to some weird dimension by Chu Shu. Tony had no choice but to bite the bullet and move out the unfinished game demo. That super eye called the Matrix. The digital logic it uses is completely different from ours. At first I wanted to imitate the Matrix world it created and create a matrix of our own, but the result. Tony said, pausing. Instructing Chu Shu to put on the helmet-shaped brain-computer interface. This launcher is too ugly. Chu Shu threw away his helmet with a look of disgust. Then choose to remotely input consciousness directly into Tony's host. Somewhat similar to the meaning of soul astral. Or, more like Professor X's telepathy. This ability was not simulated by Chu Shu using the power of the universal wishing machine, Morningstar. It's the new ability gained after wearing Set's serpent crown. It is no exaggeration to say that after putting on the snake crown, Chu Shu immediately became one of the most powerful telepaths in the Marvel worldview, the kind that crushed Professor X. Even if I take off the snake crown, telepathy in its normal state is no weaker than White Queen and others. It's a bit ugly, but it's in the testing stage now, so it can be changed in the future. Tony awkwardly picked up the helmet and started the game console. Next moment, Chu Shu felt that part of his consciousness entered another world. After a boring black screen loading, blue sky, white clouds, grass. Everything is like the real world. Chu Shu could even smell the fresh air coming from the grass. It's good. Is there any problem? In the basement, Shu Jian asked. With his current strength, it is not a problem at all to split his consciousness into 2 and perform dual-line operations. There's really nothing wrong with the scene construction. The Matrix world of the Matrix will automatically generate and complete scenes with a level of detail comparable to that of the normal world. It is definitely much better than human modeling anyway. The problem is, Tony Stark said, open the operation page on the game console and click on it. The next second, in the game world of blue sky and white clouds, an NPC appeared. A female character wearing medieval clothing. Hello, how can I help you? The characters come alive. The sound is like a silver bell. The smile on his face is also kind and pleasant. Anyway, Chu Shu didn't think there was anything wrong with this NPC character. until he took 2 steps to the side. "Hello, how can I help you?" Shoo shoo people all walked away. The female NPC was still looking at the air with a smile. Continue to use a silver bell-like voice to repeat a mechanical greeting. What the hell? Shoo shoo walked over and patted the NPC on the shoulder. Touched here, touched there, and even gave me a brain break. But what I got was still the same mechanical sound. "Hello, how can I help you?" Shoo shoo pulled away from consciousness and exited the game world. Tony Stark smiled awkwardly. Explained. There is no NPC setting in the Matrix of the original Matrix. Everyone in it is a real human being, only the world is fictional. The super I called the Matrix intends to use this method to trap human consciousness in the virtual world, but what we are trying to do is a game, and we cannot use real people to play NPCs, so. Tony finished. The general meaning is that copying the Matrix won't work. Because he couldn't solve the problem of NPC being too rigid and incompatible with the surrounding environment. And this problem will become more serious as the realism of the environment increases. The more realistic the scene is, the more false the NPC's rigid behavior creates. In the end, this weird atmosphere will appear. It seems to be a problem, but have you ever thought about it? Isn't it because the NPC is too rigid because the program is not smart enough? What if we put the Super I Jarvis into the game and let it act as an NPC? Then the problem will be solved, right? Shoo Shoo gave a solution to the problem. But Tony shook his head. I've already tried it. If we are only making a small-scale game, even if there are tens of thousands of NPCs, Jarvis's computing power can still make them look like real people, but what we want to do is the second world. There are too many units involved. In addition to NPCs, there are also birds and animals. Even a fish in the sea requires complete action logic and behavioral motivations. This huge amount of calculation is enough to crush any Super I. After Tony finished speaking, he pretended to be tired and rubbed his eyes. At the same time, secretly observing Choo Shoo through his fingers. I want to know if I have gained Choo Shoo's understanding for what I said. However, after hearing this, Choo Shoo had only one thought. A Super I can't do that, right? Okay. After Choo Shoo finished speaking, she waved her hand. Eternity. The words just fell. The cosmic entity appears instantaneously and eternally. Here, brother. What are your orders? I remember you said before that you can open channels and send people to the universes of all other worldviews that you have been exposed to before. That's what happened, brother. What's wrong? It's okay. I think it's time to visit other works. The idea of solving the problem is very simple. Since a Super I cannot afford the huge computing power to build the second world. Then let's find some more I, just like when we dealt with Infinite Ultron. It's just that the current situation is somewhat different from the original situation. Choo Shoo originally planned to repeat the same trick and directly use the Tian Xian to summon these Super Ice from their world. But today is different from the past. The target does not pose any threat to the host. Evil determination failed. The system prompts confirmed Choo Shoo's changes during this time. Your aunt is still your aunt, but your uncle is no longer the same as before. Several Super Ice have not changed much, but Choo Shoo's current strength is no longer something they can compete with. Since I can't summon you, I'll go there myself. Choo Shoo glanced at Tony, who looked horrified, and motioned for him to follow. Tony was still immersed in the shock of eternal arrival. Choo Shoo's gesture was delayed for a second. No, he. Just witnessing the true face of eternity. Tony felt as if his brain had been hit hard, as if he had seen the mysteries deep in the universe. And this is indeed the case. When mortals see eternity, it is indeed like seeing the true meaning of the universe. Definitely, the premise is that this mortal must be smart enough and savvy enough. Otherwise, when you see eternity, you will only be shocked to the point where your mind goes blank. And Tony witnessed the true face of the universe from eternity. At this moment, he finally understood what it means. If you hear the Tao in the morning, you will die at night. Don't die that night, you have to help me make the game first. Tony's thoughts have no escape from Choo Shoo's telepathy. Tony was silent. Compared with the ultimate mystery of the universe in playing games, the latter is indeed more important to you. Brother Choo, before you set off, I have a little question. Eternity will never refuse Choo Shoo's instructions. But after learning that the purpose of Choo Shoo's great efforts was to go to other worlds to recruit a few Super Ice to serve as customer service for the game and act as NPCs, Yongheng still couldn't hold it back and proposed. Brother, generally speaking, with your current strength, if you want to play, Most of them are to directly create a universe and use the fate of all the creatures in the universe as chess pieces to play with. The worst is to create a pocket dimension, where you can live, kill, and do whatever you want. From an eternal perspective, this method is the way a top Mephisto should play. Speaking in human terms is, I don't play games, I only play reality. But Chu Shu shook his head after hearing Eternal's words. You may know what Mephisto is, but you don't know what a game is. Chu Shu turned around. Tony, assuming you have the ability to create life now, you can create one peerless beauty after another according to your preferences and aesthetics. Are you willing to fall in love with these people you created? Or do you want to fall in love with a real person? Tony didn't hesitate. It's definitely alive. The life I created will never resist me, and in my heart, they are always false and never true. Tony's answer received a thumbs up from Chu Shu. As Eternal said, with his current strength, it is absolutely no problem to open up not only a small universe, but at least a pocket dimension. As for creating life, it is even easier. Just want to. Chu Shu can completely use the power of Morning Star to create all kinds of peerless beauties. Or use a certain person as a template to create countless variations of her. As many as you want. Make as many as you want. You can even send one to each reader in the book review section. No, all of them will be enough. But do these make sense? At least in Chu Shu's opinion, it makes no sense. No matter how many beauties are created, they can't compare to Wanda's breathtaking words, Mr. Chu Shu. Ahem. Back to business. Just open the door and take care of other things. After Chu Shu finished speaking, Eternity immediately opened a door to Otherworld. The only problem is, why does the shape of this gate look like a dump truck? One more thing, Brother Chu. Some of the worlds you are going to next are extremely fragile, that is, the level of the universe is too low. You may need to come in as an energy projection. In addition. Oh, I understand. The eternal other is not finished yet. Chu Shu impatiently kicked Tony Stark in. Then I also entered the cross-universe, cross-work passage. In addition. Try not to take action in these worlds, they cannot bear your wrath. The last warning of Eternity was given only to himself. Because at this moment, after passing through the passage, Chu Shu and Tony have come to a world where birds are singing and flowers are fragrant. What kind of garbage universe can't even carry 1/5 of my power? Chu Shu cursed, because before entering this universe, he left most of his power in the void world outside the universe. He only projected less than 1/5 of his power into the universe in the form of energy mapping. That's right, it's the same as Tien's operation. What the hell is this world? Tony Stark, who came with him, didn't have this problem. After all, this trouble only belongs to the strong. Rookies don't need to be considered, and at the moment, Tony was shocked by the scene in front of him. The sky is dark. It was covered with a thick layer of dust clouds, making it impossible to see the sun. As far as the eye can see, there are steel jungles everywhere without any trace of human habitation. It's as if those steels are cold machines. Which eye world is this? Why is there no living person? Tony asked with a trembling voice. Who told you there were no survivors? Chu Shu waved his hand. The arm tore apart space as it swung, almost creating a black hole out of thin air. Damn, this world is so fragile. After making a complaint, Chu Shu slowed down his movements. The next moment, a cylindrical steel building in front of him was torn apart. The metal parts of the exterior wall are automatically disassembled and suspended in the air. The internal structure is exposed. It was a densely arranged device that looked like a sleeping cabin. Inside, there were naked human beings lying with their bodies covered with delivery tubes. Well, all the humans you are looking for are here. This is the Earth in the Matrix worldview. The bodies of these people are trapped here and are used as biological batteries by the Matrix, while their consciousness is uploaded to the Matrix world. Chu Shu said lightly based on the memory in his mind. Tony Stark listened. I feel a chill down my spine. He was so frightened that he put on the newly developed nano armor without hesitation. It's like liquid nano armor covering the whole body. This gave Tony a little sense of security. Sir, network intrusion has been detected, and the scan shows it is the Mother Matrix. What a coincidence, the rightful owner is here. Chu Shu looked into the distance. I saw densely packed squid-like robots coming in like waves.